Hi, I'm Tealish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. Today we are today's guest is the winner of the 2025 ChampionClix Open. His name is Joseph Harrison. Congrats, Joseph, on winning the ChampionClix Open in Orlando, Florida. Also, by the way, if you're watching or listening at home, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to make more content. If you do enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. Also, check out the socials, my socials linked in the video description below. So, hi, Joe. I could just call you Joe, right? Joe, or
Yeah,
you go by
yeah.
Joe. Okay. So,
Most people call me Joe. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
That's perfect.
Joe, um, congrats on your win. You won the 300 Modern event
Correct.
in at the ChampionClix Open. I've been to the ChampionClix Open. It's an awesome event. Shout out to David Newmark. He does an awesome job.
Oh yeah.
He really runs an amazing event. I look forward to going again because I've been there once. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good time. Um, but I mean, Joe, let's start off by talking about your background playing HeroClix, just in general. Like, where'd you
Yeah.
get started? How'd you get started? Do you play online? Do you like comic books? Why don't you talk about your history playing HeroClix?
Right. My history playing Clix, I got into it, and first of all, thank you for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate it, and
Yeah.
thanks for the congratulations. So I started playing HeroClix. I think I was around 12, 13 years old, somewhere in there. I'm 27 now, so it's been 14 or 15 years, but I think it was like Galactic Guardians. It was right when they were switching to the Oreo base dolls. I think like Web of Spider-Man and Giant Size X-Men. We were still playing with some of those pieces when me and a couple of my good friends got into Clix originally, but they were just switching over to the Oreo base with there was a Hulk set with all the like hulked out heroes, Galactic Guardians, Chaos War. Those are like some of our first sets that we were playing with. And man, for the first like 10 years playing Clix, I was just playing home games. I didn't realize there was like a big competitive, or it's not massive compared to other games, but there's a pretty big competitive scene in HeroClix. But it was just me and two of my best friends playing home games, really, man, for 10 plus years. And there's been a lot of like, year-long breaks like scattered in there, but for the most part, yeah, just home games, really, man. That's where I learned how to play the game. That's where I really developed a love for it. And there was a lot of breaks that me and my buddies would take from the game, but that whole time, we'd be keeping up with the new sets coming out and stuff like that. And just like always building was our thing, man. We just love to build teams, love to like just theory craft. As fun as it is to actually like sit down and play Clicks, man. And I know a lot of people would probably agree with this, like building and just like coming up with a cool concept that is your own and that you can really own. It's the best part of Clicks. So that's kind of my background just in the game. And yeah, I'm a big comics fan. I haven't had a ton of like time to really sit down and like go deep in the comics. I'm a big fan of. I'm sure you're familiar with the Comics Explained channel on
Yes.
on YouTube.
I
Yeah.
have I have the I'm a Patreon member. I have the ring and everything. The comics
Oh
explained.
snap! Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Comics Explained is that's the joint, man. So yeah, Comics Explained is really awesome. So I've just binge watched like 10 episodes of that in like a
he
day.
he's so
Yeah,
good. The guy that does comics
yeah.
explained. He's really good.
So good, man. Yeah, so good. I think one of my favorite comics was the one of the Thor comics. I can't remember the exact name of the like series or whatever, but was the Gore the God Butcher. Was when the introduction to Gore as Thor's, in his villain gallery or rogue gallery.
I think that was Jason
Um,
Aaron, right? I think Jason Aaron wrote that. I'm not sure, but
Sounds right.
it
Yeah,
sounds
I'll go
right.
with
I'm
that.
not
Yeah,
sure.
but yeah, and I looked at Comics Explained his breakdown of that storyline. And after I saw that, I was like, man, he hit like all of the right details and told it in like a really good way. So I was like, this guy knows his comics.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I love Thor. That's why I got the my patented Coffee and Clicks mug,
Right.
my Mjolnir mug. I use it on the show all the time. But
Right.
so what venue do you play at, or did you play at? So you were saying home, is it actual home games, like you just play at home, or you when you
Yeah. Yeah.
did you
So
have a venue or?
no, man. Well, dude, honest to goodness, there was a so I'm from North Carolina. There was a little comic book shop in Goldsboro, North Carolina. It's actually not even open anymore, and I can't even remember the name of it to be honest. It's been that long, dude. But I was like 13 at the time, and my older cousin was the one I was playing with, and he was like 19, 20, and we were, he would actually like drive me to the comic book shop, and he was just a big comic book like fan junkie, and I think he just randomly decided to buy one of these packs one day for like I think it was like an Avengers movie set or Chaos War something like that, and he took them home and kind of like how older cousins pretty much can make you play whatever they want you to play type thing. They were like, hey, you're gonna play this game with me, and I was like, whatever, I'll play it. And we ended up just getting like instantly addicted. I was getting like an allowance at that point. Like I didn't even have a job. I was getting like 20 or 40 bucks a week just for chores around the house, and just I just started dumping all of it into HeroClix. The first pack I opened, I got a the Anthony Hopkins Odin chase
Oh, nice.
from
Okay.
the 250 point one. Still got that. Yeah, that's like my prized possession, I feel like. So yeah, it was just a little random like hole in the wall comic book shop in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And then so after that shop closed, we just bought clicks online. We didn't go anywhere and play or anything. And then about a year and a half ago, um, my brother, one of my brother-in-law that he was moving to Italy with his family, and he was one of the guys that I got into Clix with. And I got before he moved, I just got him like a Secret Santa gift and it was like a brick from Wheels of Vengeance, and we hadn't played in like I don't know a year and a half or two, and we'd still never played any competitive or anything like that, and we just opened up and had like a little sealed tournament, like just us two at home. And after he moved, I was like, man, that was really fun, and now I don't have anyone to play clicks with, so I'm just gonna call around and see like who's playing in the area, if there's any comic book shops that have people playing. And there was a comic book shop about an hour and a half away. It's called the Gilded Dragon. That's where I like play at now. And that's how I got into competitive. That's pretty much it. There was a guy there that had been to the Rock Cup, had been to a couple state tournaments, and yeah, he hooked me up with the competitive scene, and haven't looked back, man.
So you guys play at Gilded Dragon, you play predominantly 300 modern, or what's your favorite format of choice?
So at Gilded Dragon, we play. I would say it's a mix. So I would say it's like 30% 300 modern, 30% 400 silver, and then the rest is just like random casual type stuff, just random funny, funky game modes. Yeah,
Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
because it's a mix. It's a mix of competitive and casual. Yeah,
And so
players, anyways. Yeah.
yeah, all right, yeah, cool. What do you prefer though? Like, what's your favorite format?
Yeah. I come from. I consider myself a little bit of both, honestly, because I come from like a very casual sense I come from a very casual setting in the sense of I played so many like home games for so many years, and we played like 500 to 600 points like religiously, um, for 10 plus years, and you can make the most insane like synergized teams with resources and all that crazy stuff that used to exist. But while they were casual in the sense of there was nothing on the line for the most part, we were extremely competitive with one another. So I mean, we built some insane like builds, and I can like I just I still use that same like building concept in my competitive play. Like now, I would say I consider myself like mainly competitive player. It's not like even if I'm going to play a casual match, I want to be using pieces that I can at least see how they function in a competitive environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so speaking of formats, tell us about the ChampionClix Open. I mean, You won the 300 point modern. Did an awesome job. I mean, tell us, like what were the other formats that they had at the ChampionClix Open? Could you tell us about anything that you participated in?
Yeah, so the first night, or I guess the Friday night, there was the Alphabet Soup event, and honestly, Dylan Casabon, the 2024 world champ, he's also from North Carolina, so we kind of frequently play. He convinced me to go to this like event like last minute, but he already had a couple of his buddies that he was going to be teaming up with for some of the events, and yeah, after he talked me into going, I'm like, sure, I'd love to do it. I've heard a lot of good things. But I didn't have anyone to play with, so I just like shot a random like invite on a couple of like Facebook posts. I think it was like Clix and Critical Clicks, their shout out on their pages, and I was like, hey, does anyone need a partner or whatever? And Clark Grantham was who I ended up partnering for. He did really good in the sealed event as well. He's a really solid player, and dude, we picked S. We were considering picking for those of you watching that don't know, it was you had to pick the first letter. You had to pick the first letter that you or the letter that you picked. Every game element on your force had to start with that letter, like objects, equipment, characters. It didn't matter. So obviously everyone was picking like S was the one like that. I think like 60 or 70% of the teams had was S. All the Spider-Man, Sakari and Iron Man, Scarlet Witch. I mean, it was just S was so stacked. Sky Tyrant was so stacked. And then also B was a sleeper pick for sure. And I knew that was going to be a solid one with like Butterfly, Batman, Beetlejuice. Um, yeah, I actually lost to Logan Growney. He's a really solid player, but he was playing B. Um, so yeah, that was a super fun event. That me and Clark, we considered going to C because like Captain Carter Shield on Colossus, Carnage Silver Surfer. Honestly, if we would have had like Ultra Chase Collector, neither one of us had that at that time. So if we would have had like Ultra Chase Collector, we probably would have went C just to kind of be a little bit more creative. But
So with your teammate and you both had to have the same letter, or
yeah,
your
yeah.
teammate had to have a different letter than you.
No, yeah, we you and your teammate had to have the same letter, and it was Highlander. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, no sharing pieces. Yep, yep,
Got it. Okay.
yeah. So with that event, it started off, and I mean that was the first event of the weekend. It started off. I lost my first game to Ryan Redmond from DGen Clicks, Degeneration Clicks. Shout out. He's a great player, great dude too. But yeah, I lost my first game to him. I think he either last turned me or I want to say last action me with a colossal retail from it was the Storm. He was playing S as well. It was the Storm that's like sitting on a like Sentinel or sitting on
I think that's
Shadow King,
yeah, it's a
right?
Prime, right? Storm Prime or
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
like that.
Storm
Yeah.
Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he last action me and Colossal Retail, and then after that, he like double targeted my Scarlet Witch and my Surtur, and like killed both of them, and won the game. It was pretty nuts. And then the next game, and Clark, luckily, he like balled out that game and wiped. I think it was Christine. I think he scored all 400 points. So we actually ended up edging that one out because it was only two, 2 on 2. So as long as if you split, as long as your teammate scored more points or whatever, you won that match. But then the next game we played Logan. That's the one I lost to him. He was playing Beetlejuice. He was playing Beholder, Prime Black Panther, and Butterfly with Beetlejuice coming off the sideline, I believe. Or no. I think it was just main Force Juice. Yeah, I think it was just main Force Juice. And there was, even though this was a silver format, there was a no. PJ made it a like no silver floor, so you could play 400 modern if you really needed to, just to kind of keep it to where more letters could be viable in the format. So I lost my first two matches, and Clark also lost his second game, and I was like, man, this might come to an end early. Like, I'm sorry, Clark, I'm choking kind of thing. and then the rest of the night I just went 7-0. Like I just went on a tear after that, and I was playing Soldier Supreme. He's goated, man. Soldier Supreme is so good. I was playing Soldier Supreme with the Stones of Merlin for the defensive, kind of just keep him around longer. I was playing Scarlet Witch, obviously with the Darkhold. You could play the Darkhold on her because it was generated outside of the game. So they let stuff like that happen, even if it was a different letter, if it was like generated at the beginning of the game or whatever. Scarlet Witch, I was playing Sky Tyrant, Surtur. I was playing the Shuri. This was a good move on our part, and I didn't see it anywhere. I didn't see it anywhere else, but when me and Clark, we only played one test game on Roll20 leading up to the event, and Shuri, the super rare from Black Panther set with the birds like flying over, the one that can do multiple perplexes. We put the Sinestro core ring on her. So like when you went in for your alpha, you could just fly in there, and I also had the little common Shuri that can spawn vibranium markers. So when you go in for your alpha, you just and I feel like I shouldn't be sharing this tech because we might start seeing it everywhere. So you can go in there and you can remove like five Sinestro core, five vibranium marker things, and you're doing -2 to everyone with each perplex. So you can literally go because she already has perplex on her dial, so she's getting a -2 as long as she's doing a negative perplex to opponents. So she's going in there and just like making everyone like a 15 or 16 defense, and it's just insane. So once I'd never played with Scarlet Witch before that event, and once I like got the positioning down a couple games, it was a really solid build. I honestly most matches I didn't even get my rune markers up. She's just a good piece in general, man. Like shape change super senses, good attack, good range. She's got the dark hold, so 2 pick of powers. She's just a solid piece. And the last match, we were in top 4. We actually made it to top 4. I was against Emily Roette, I think is her last name, the Canadian national champion, Queen of the North.
Yeah.
Shout out Emily. She's a great player. But actually, she was playing C with Prime Colossus. That was actually on stream. Our game on Dial H. That was on the stream. She was playing Ultra Chase Collector with the Cosmic Cube, the old Cosmic Cube, the 30-point one. So that was pretty dope. And then she's playing Prime Colossus with the Captain America Pegasus and Commissioner, the one that can spawn the Pog. And yeah, it was a really good game. I edged her out a little bit, but it was a really tight game. But Devin, her teammate, he was doing really good at that point. And Clark, I don't think Clark had the best rolls that game, so we lost out there.
Okay, well, that sounds like a fun event. That sounds really cool. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, playing Beetlejuice and Beholder together on the same
yeah,
main force. That sounds awesome. Like,
yeah, yeah. Me and Logan were talking about it, and he's an awesome dude. I'm gonna talk more about him later. We were talking about it after the game, and he was like, yeah, man, I love Beholder so much, but this is like the only chance I'm ever going to be able to play him. So I figured I'd try it, and it worked good. I think he hit me like 3 or 4 times with Beholder, and he rolled a 6 every time on his
What does the 6 do? I forget what the 6 does.
I think it's just -1s to combat values, so it's
Okay.
like it's not the coolest one. So we literally had like a stalemate, man. I think he killed my Sky Tyrant, and I might have killed like a 20 or 30-point piece. And he was rushed up, and he had a Don't Die team. He had Black Panther from, so like I couldn't, and Beetlejuice. And then I got my hex mark. I actually did get my hex markers out on that map, and like none of his team had powers like the whole game, but I just couldn't kill anyone because of his Black Panther. So it was pretty hilarious.
So tell me about the team that you played in 300 Modern. Like, what do you
Yeah,
what did you what was your team for that event? Because I know you were the winner of that event. So
right, right.
what'd you play?
So the I played. Well, I'll just go through what I played first, and then we can kind of talk about some of the theory behind it.
Yeah, sure.
I played Ghost Rider with the Crimson Gem. Um, I played Colossus Prime, obviously, with the motorcycle. Excuse me. I played just one time breaker, not the Pog, just the piece. I played Perdegaton, unequipped. I played Kevin with Avatar of Toweret. Uh, I played the Lucas PJ Scott Pog, and then I played Chair Panther with the free +1 longsword. And then my sideline was I had the Scarlet Witch chase from Collector's Trove that no one like knows about per se for the Ghost Rider pilot. For some reason, no one knew about her. Um, but she gives Pinsai and shape change to Ghost Rider,
Mm-hmm.
and that was my Ghost Rider pilot. I only had one, and then I had Fortify Rivalry and Cathan. And then I had, let's see, Beetlejuice, obviously, and one other sideline thing that I'm forgetting. And then I had Nifty Traffic Barrel. Nifty Traffic. Oh
Nifty
yeah,
traffic barrel.
Toweret was my other sideline. Yeah,
Did you have Chair Panther on your team, or
I did have Chair Panther. Yeah,
you did? Okay, yeah.
yeah,
And
with a long sword. Yeah,
and Cathan went on Ghost Rider mostly, right?
M mostly. Yeah. So it's interesting. Me and Alex Mader and Isaac Dinky. And for that matter, also Jacob Bishop and Dylan Castlebaum, two of the guys that I play Roll20 with, they're also in North Carolina, so we play in person some too. We were all talking, we were just strategizing, and they knew that I was running this build, so and then I met Alex Mader and Isaac Dinky before the event, and we were talking like a day before, and I was going through some things. So the original version of this team had Evil Entwinement instead of Cathan, which is the one where if you pick two people at the beginning of the turn, if either one of them move, they take two unavoidable damage after resolutions. And it's pretty gross with Prime Colossus because you're just carrying around Kevin with Predegaton. So you're up in people's face and like say you go in for your alpha, you have everyone up there like all bunched up, and Predegaton and Kevin are in your kind of defensive shell. You can just evil entwinement on Kevin and one of their pieces, like whoever you want to delete, pretty much, and then you just mind control them with Colossus. You deal the 5 damage. You do whatever you're going to do with the mind control. You make them move, and then you deal 2 unavoidable damage to them because they
Oh,
moved after playing the evil entwinement. Yeah, so it's pretty. That's a pretty nasty combo. But I switched that up last minute because um, I just figured since Colossus was my heavy lifter on this team in terms of like just offensive firepower, I kind of needed a little bit of a stat buff to Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider's an amazing piece, but I just wanted him to hit, and it was fine without it because I won a tournament with this Evil Entwinement version. It was like a small local tournament, but there were some good players there. Um, but yeah, that was the original version of the team, but I just wanted a little bit more stats and damage output from Ghost Rider. So I put that on Ghost Rider, and then originally it had just the 001 Ghost Rider as a pilot instead of Scarlet Witch, just for the steel energy. But I figured since I had Kevin on the build, that's a consistent healing option. So I can just be supporting Ghost Rider throughout the game to heal up the Cathan damage if I need it, really. And and that gives him just more offensive potency because he's got the pin side with the hypersonic if he really needs it for like Kongs, Swamp Thing primes, like anything that you need some penetrating for.
no, that's because you can support with Kevin, like
From 8 squares,
from
yeah,
from 8 squares. Really? Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, from 8 squares, yeah, anywhere within his range. Only on Marvel characters, yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So that's
yeah,
that's kind of crazy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's insane. Yeah, he sees through everything just for any power. But if you're gonna like use his damage powers on someone, wait, what is it? Yeah, yeah. I think if you're gonna use his damage powers, you can use them as if you're adjacent to them.
All right.
So,
And because he has
and,
Towerette, then he has support top dial.
and yeah, support and outwit. Yeah. So you just put him on. You put him on the prob control click on his actual dial, and then you have the three arguably best support powers in the game
Mm.
from 8 squares away that sees through everything. So it's nuts, man. Kevin is goaded. Yeah.
And so like as far as like building your team, like what was the strategy behind it? I also have a question from McConnell that he posted on Facebook. Were there any other teams you were strongly considering playing other than this team?
Oh man, if I showed you my HC units tab going into this event, dude, I've got like 10,000 teams. Only halfway kidding. Yeah. So, what was your original question? What was like my main strategy when building this team, kind of?
Yeah, like what made you, what inspired you to build it?
Right. One more thing. Sorry, I forgot to mention this as well before I answer that. Alex Mader also made me or helped me when I made the Cathan switch, which was a big switch. It freed up 5 points because I don't have an evil entwinement on the sideline. While this seems like a minuscule change, it was actually huge putting the Pog on the Lucas PJ Scott Pog because I had no other mysticals besides Ghost Rider. So in the Bloodstone matchups, like everyone is so scared of Bloodstone right now, and I mean you should be a little bit scared, but not to the point where it just cripples you and you don't build you like how you want to build. So I wanted Cathan up there, but I didn't want Cathan up there if Ghost Rider was my only mystical, because then if you go up against Bloodstone, it's like you have to take that unavoidable damage, and you're not going to be able to heal it back for the most part. So that's why I put the Pog up there. So if you just go up against Bloodstone, put Cathan on the Pog because the Pog has mystical keyword. So you just put Cathan on the Pog, and then your Ghost Rider is safe, essentially.
Oh,
So yeah, that was the thought behind the Lucas PJ Scott Pog. So maybe that'll see an uptick in play. um, I think they
we're
I think
revealing tech right now, so.
yeah, I need to shut up. I need to shut up. Yeah, I think Lucas, which I had told a lot of people that at ChampionClix, I think Lucas posted on the Critical Clicks thing. They had like a 69. The Fog had like a 69% win percentage at
Yeah.
ChampionClix, and I think mine was like yeah, like all of the games or almost all the games. But the main thought behind the team originally, so. I'm a pretty aggressive player, but not in the traditional sense of aggressive, in the sense of like I try to take out your whole team in one turn. I like to be able to play aggressively and not just die after my alpha strike,
Hmm.
um, which is fun as well. Like sometimes I'll make teams like that where it's like I'm trying to wipe your whole team out in one turn. I love builds like that, and sometimes they're the play. Um, there's world championship teams like that. But in terms of my own like play style, it just feels bad when you have a really strong constructed team. You go in for an alpha strike, either miss your rolls or they hit their rollouts, and then you're like, oh, okay, my team is about to get wiped. That just does not feel good. Like you need to, in every time you build a team, you need to ask yourself not what's going to happen when this goes right. You need to ask yourself what's going to happen when everything goes wrong in the game. Can I
Hmm.
still survive and can I still have a chance of making it out of this? So basically, when I started building this team, I was asking myself, what am I most kind of concerned about in the meta? And at that time, when I was building it, it was like Ghost Rider's my favorite piece in the game by far. I just love his trait. It's like the most bad A trait of all time. And as soon as Crimson Gem came out, I just like instant. I'm a Ghost Rider player, so I just instantly saw that combo with the phone booth. Him picking up the phone booth with the Crimson Gem and giving everyone adjacent to him shape change, protected shape change of that, like protected Pulse Wave shape change, protected Battle Fury shape change. Just giving that to your entire team if you need to is just it's just off the charts, like crazy strong and just the improved movement that it gives. Protected mind control comes up sometimes. So I knew that I wanted to build with Ghost Rider from the start. I had messed around with a couple of Hadari builds because Hadari is still obviously great. A lot of people are counter building her right now, but she's still a great piece. But me and Dylan Castlebaum we were practicing a lot of Roll20 and we were playing Hadari almost every game, and we came up with some good builds, especially like Hadari Elsa, Elsa Prime, um, and but we just like we felt like she was just dying every time. Like she would go in, hit hard, and it's just not what everyone thinks. Like everyone thinks if you play Hadari, you're just going to go in there and pulse wave their whole team and it's GG's. But it first of all, it's really hard to get off an effective pulse wave against a good player, and it's hard to get prop controls on a pulse wave. It's just not an easy thing to set up. It's not as easy as everyone
Well,
thinks.
I
And we
actually
were,
like the trick arrows more on Hadari than I do.
yeah,
I actually
yeah.
think they're better for her.
Yeah, me and Dylan said that same thing, and that's why we played. We had Hadar with the with the universal weapon, but we were also playing Elsa with the trick arrows just in case of matchups where we're like, oh, we really want trick arrows on her this match. We could just put the trick arrows on her and have that option that for that kind of flexibility there. So that's why we were originally building with those two pieces, and then we just kind of scrapped it because we were like, man, we just maybe we're not good with her, or maybe it doesn't fit our play style, but she just dies, we feel like.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, when I started building with Ghost Rider again, because I was like, I'm just gonna live or die on Ghost Rider probably until he goes out of the meta. I just love the piece. I started building it with him again, and I was building kind of these very like kind of hard to kill. It was almost don't die in a sense. We were trying Ulysses out a lot with Ghost Rider, and honestly, me and Dylan do not like that piece at all. Like that's a very hot take because a lot of people like Ulysses, but we just do not think that's a good piece. First, like I know people can make him work with the Kevin thing. It's cool. It's really cool, and there are some solid builds with him for sure. But the thing we hate about him is he is not mobile at all. You have to invest so much in him to make him mobile because he's an 8 movement with charge, and you have to invest in a lot in him to be mobile. There's a lot of things that get around his trait, like just guaranteed damage, like the evil entwinement thing works. I think poison works because it's only damage from attacks, I'm pretty sure. Um, and Colossus mind control one shots him.
Hmm.
So like there's a lot of things that just get through Ulysses. He's not as survivable as everyone thinks he is. If he was good on all 5 clicks, I would be a little bit higher on him. But his clicks 4 and 5 are just absolute garbage. Like his 1, 2, and 3 are really strong, and then 4 and 5 are just absolute garbage. So I'm not saying I'm never going to try playing with him again. He is a solid piece, but he's not as good as everyone thinks he is in mine and Dylan's opinion. Um, I
Was Ghost?
remember,
Oh, so you had Ghost
yeah,
Rider equipped with the
with the
Crimson
Crimson
Gem.
Gem,
Yeah,
with
that's
the
a good
Crimson
combo.
Gem.
So he picks up those phone. He picks up the phone booth. He gives
Picks
everybody
up the
shape
phone booth.
change.
Yeah. So originally I was playing with a team with him, Ulysses, Death Metal Wonder Woman, Miles Morales. It was like a defensive shell team, and I was talking to Lucas Van Holland, and I was trying to get some like tips on the team, and he was like, "Well, I like your team, but it pretty much gets like murdered by Hadari Energy Explosion." Or like Hadari Pulse Wave because none of my while they did have the shape change from Ghost Rider, none of them had damage reducers like Ulysses doesn't have damage reducer. Wonder Woman doesn't have damage reducer. Miles doesn't have damage reducer. Predagon, like none of them had damage reducers. And I was like, well, yeah, that's true. But I knew I wanted to. I believed in the Ghost Rider tech with the Crimson Gem from the start. I just didn't know what to combo it with. So I pretty much scrapped that build except for the Ghost Rider with Crimson Gem and kind of was talking to Lucas still. He gave me some ideas with Colossus Prime and Butterfly and Cheer Panther and just kind of told me probably the best move on Ghost Rider most of the time is motorcycle, which I'll agree. Like prior to this, anyways, I would agree that like motorcycle and Bucky's armor is really solid on Ghost Rider, really solid on Ghost Rider. But just for my team and the concept that I had, I knew that Crimson Gem was really strong on him, and just the double knockback. I didn't even mention that before. The double knockback is really good. So I tried the butterfly build with Colossus out. I didn't like it because it was based so heavily around bringing Beetlejuice out pretty much off the rip, and that's just not my play style. Beetlejuice is really good, and I like bringing him out in a lot of instances when I need him, like per se against like a Ultra Chase Collector or something like that. But I don't like to just abuse the mechanic or just I just me and Dylan played a test game with that team, and I brought out Beetlejuice. He was playing Plants, and I brought out Beetlejuice off the rip. I think he actually ended up winning, but like it was just so aggravating for him, and it was frustrating for me too because you can't charge mind control, you can't perplex. There's so many things you can't do off the rip, and it's kind of boring honestly. So I scrapped that team. except for Colossus. I kept the Colossus tech and I kept the Chair Panther. And then I saw Ricky Prignano. He really gave me some like inspiration for the build that I like ended up going with. He won the Kenosha Icy with like 30 some people in it with all the degeneration guys. I think they ran that one in Wisconsin, I
Hmm.
believe. He won that event with a dude. It was pretty much my exact same team, except he had Juggernaut instead of Ghost Rider, and he didn't have the Pog, obviously, because he wasn't running Cathan. Um, so, but it was a very similar team. He had Kevin with Tauret, he had Predagon, he had Colossus Prime, he had Timebreaker, and he had Chair Panther. So pretty much I had like five of his pieces, but I did add the Pog and I added Ghost Rider, which was a massive change, but the similar structure. Mine was like a much more defensive version of Ricky's build, but they're still very aggressive teams. They're just so durable. And having the Ghost Rider in for the Juggernaut, I'm not saying it's the better option. Just for me personally in my play style, I'm big about just knowing your own play style, knowing your game. Like for Ricky, you know, that's his play style or that's what he saw or that's the concept that he wanted to go with and it worked for him, you know. He won first place. Just but for my personal play style, I believed in Ghost Rider with the Crimson Gem and having that same like build with, you know, Colossus all and these hard to put down characters, just adding the shape change on a multi-base character that can be adjacent to everyone and give everyone adjacent to him shape change is just huge, is just
So
massive.
so
Yeah.
you say like if you pick up the how does your opening turn look like in like your typical
Yeah.
opening turn? Like are you carrying everybody up together in like a group with shape change like
Right.
or do you have an alpha? Do you go full map reach or
So pretty much, so I think from the main event, the Modern 300, I think three of my games were live streamed. A little past the halfway point. The top 16 game I played against Joe Alves, Joe Safa. Joe Alves, he's a great player. Obviously, everyone
yeah.
knows him. Yeah, he's just nasty. Like
Yeah,
he's a
he's really
nasty.
good.
Like he's so good, so freaking good, man. And the crazy thing is, I was 5-0. I was three. There was three 5-0s that made it the top cut, and I was like, okay, this is the first time I've went undefeated in a Swiss. I've got to get like a pretty good matchup. And then I see the pairings and I'm going up against Joe Alves, and I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, how am I going up against Joe? Like, of course this would happen. Like, I get paired against like one of the best players here, and but our game is streamed. He played like a crazy, like he's a hyper aggressive player, and I love it. We played on Brock's Bunker. And then my top four match with Nick Madsen, who was the runner up at Worlds, he was playing Ultra Chase Collector with Mern and Space Ghost. And then my finals match, obviously, we'll talk about that some. But pretty much every game on the day, um, map, I mean, map matters with this team. Obviously, it was a huge difference in the championship match, but it didn't really matter what map I was on or if I went first. I pretty much with what you do with this team is you run up with Ghost Rider, you have Vibranium, Phone Booth, and Traffic Barrel pretty much all adjacent to one another. Now, of course, you make sure your Traffic Barrel is in a spot where they can't just blow it up. Or your phone booth. The phone booth is actually probably bigger, but traffic barrel is huge as well. You need to keep both of them protected if you can. And on most maps, it's pretty easy to do that unless they want to overcommit and try and blow up your traffic barrel or something like that. So most of the time you can keep them protected, especially on like Bloodstone Maze or Brock's Bunker, maps like that. So I would put my stuff like all adjacent to one another. I would run out there with Ghost Rider. I would pick up the phone booth. I would run through the Vibranium with him because he has Crimson Gem, so he ignores blocking. So you can run back and forth through the Vibranium over and over again in one movement, and you get multiple Vibranium rolls for the Vibranium markers. And that was just to keep Chair Panther kind of get some value out of him throughout the game. because if you remove the vibranium marker, you get to take actions off throughout the game. And I only have two attackers on that team, so I
Mhm.
really need to make sure that they're not actioned up. So I would build up a couple of. I was getting really lucky on my vibranium rolls throughout the day. I think only like one or two matches I destroyed it on the first time. Um, so I build up a couple with Ghost Rider, build up a couple of vibranium markers, and I would just stay like 4 to 5 squares out. Try not to overextend, but I would stay like 4 squares out a lot of times. And then I would run up with Colossus. I would grab the barrel. So he was my barrel holder all day. Um, I would grab the barrel with Colossus, and then I'd run through the vibranium, a couple more times or whatever until it was destroyed. And then I would just, wherever I needed position, I would kind of like map out how many squares of reach they had. But most of the time, they're going to be able to reach you if you're in the, if you've gone out of your starting area. Most of the time, people can get to you. So it didn't really matter, honestly. I just positioned Colossus adjacent to Ghost Rider, and I was very cautious of, if they had displacement, like if they could displace me with time breakers or some other mechanic, or also like a one that Ryan Redmond did against me like a year ago when I was playing Ghost Rider that people sleep on is you got to be careful if you place your piece diagonally to Ghost Rider, they can just come up and barrier on the diagonal, so it splits up Ghost Rider from the piece that he's diagonal to because they're not adjacent anymore. So it strips away Ghost Rider's benefits that they're giving them. So that's a really creative play. So I just was really careful about my Colossus positioning. It didn't really matter where I positioned Ghost Rider that much. So I'd have both of them on like the fourth or fifth tile up, and then I'd spawn a time breaker, and that was pretty much it, man. I would just like pass, and just if they want to come to me, it's like, okay, you're playing into my game because I'm a defensive build anyways, and now you're coming closer to my formation where I have Predagatons prob, um, I have Black Panthers outwit. I just have more support if you're going to come and attack me on the alpha. So that actually played into my gameplay. If you want to come and alpha strike me, it was a very hard team to alpha strike, and so most people in most matchups they would just kind of get in a formation and wait for me to come in for the alpha because all I had to do to alpha, I just made sure that my Ghost Rider could reach like the second to last tile on his hypersonic. That's pretty much where I positioned Ghost Rider because I was going to position Colossus to where he could reach the back square if I needed to. So all it takes is like three time breakers and a TK, and then he's got a 8 square reach with a motorcycle on him. So
Mhm.
that's like 14 squares right there. So you're getting where you want to. You're running through walls with Ghost Rider and Colossus. And with the motorcycle, I played on the Clix that everyone thinks with the motorcycle that it's just instantly you pick the Super Sense one. But almost every game except for the one I played against the Ultra Chase Collector, um, I picked the Combat Reflexes Clix with and I learned that from Ricky Prignano too, because he said the same thing. You pick that one almost every game because so many people play close combat heavy teams, and Colossus with a 22 defense. It's just like you're not chewing through that, man. It's so toxic because like you have a 22 defense, you have the shape change you're getting from Ghost Rider, you have his impervious that, and none of this can be outwitted or got around in any way as long as you keep him adjacent to Ghost Rider. So the second turn, most of the time they would just wait for me to come to them, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come to you and do my thing anyways because I can prob from 8 squares away with Kevin through everything. I can outwit you from 8 squares away with Kevin. I can support with Kevin. So just kind of slowly taxi Kevin up behind your push because you can just sidestep carry Kevin with Decaton. And and yeah, man, just go in for the alpha. Most of the time, I would go in for the alpha with Colossus first, but depending on the situation, sometimes I went in with Ghost Rider. Go in with the alpha with Colossus. Do your charge mind control. Do what you're going to do. Make sure the attack hits. And most of the time, it's pretty easy to make that happen. But I do have a rivalry on the team if I need to use it. Make sure that first alpha mind control is really important a lot of times, and then just go in with Ghost Rider. Um, So like a lot of the times, man, I would alpha on their like time breakers, which was kind of with Ghost Rider and just like double target and kill both their time breakers or like something like that because time breakers are an amazing counter to Ghost Rider. Like one of his hardest counters is time breakers because you can just run up, displace the person that they're trying to protect with Ghost Rider, and then his trait is useless. So a lot of the games like against Ryan Redmond in the top eight match, that was a super close match. I alpha striked his Predagon and his time breakers. That's all I killed the entire game. And he just wasn't able to kill anything else. And it was a super like we were like just slugging it out. And my team is so defensive, he just couldn't like he got unlucky on a couple rolls, but like he just couldn't take anything out. I think I beat him like 25-5 or something like that. And
So it was basically as long as you keep Ghost Rider next to Colossus, or
yeah, yeah. As long as pretty much just Alpha Strike, keep Ghost Rider adjacent to Colossus, and you're golden pretty much. Like you do have to. I mean, it is a little bit more nuanced than that. Ghost Rider, if you're going to try and play Ghost Rider, he is a lot more placement heavy than you think he is. I'll say that he's a very placement dependent piece. You need to be very conscious of how you're placing him, because if there's any interactions where they can get around you being adjacent to Ghost Rider, then it's a useless trade at that point.
yeah. No, that's I really like that's really cool how you explain that team. That's a really great explanation.
Right. Oh, there's so much more I could get into, man. Like, there's so much more I could get into about that team. But yeah, yeah, I thought about it a million different ways for sure.
Did you have Mimic on the sideline or
Unfortunately, I did. Mimic is so good. It's almost an autoplay. And definitely if you can fit it on the build. But for what I was thinking, first of all, I don't have barrier on the team, and Mimic gets way better with barrier on your team, obviously. Um, and I just couldn't fit them. Like it was unfortunate, but I couldn't fit them up there because I can't. I definitely can't take Tau Red off. That's my like consistent healing option.
right?
I can't take the pilot off. Obviously, it's not worth taking the one shots off. One shots are just so broken. Um, and then I really wanted the Cathan up there. That ended up being a good call. I think those plus ones just Ghost Rider is good regardless. If you're going to play Ghost Rider, don't be scared to play him without Cathan. You don't need it per se, but he is better with the plus ones, in my opinion.
Also, was Kevin KO'd at all ever in the event or
Let's see. Kevin was not KO'd. Kevin was Kevin was not KO'd, man, all day.
he's
Um,
that's a tough piece, right? That
yeah,
it's got
it's
a
tough
lot
to
of
kill,
lasting.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it takes 3 turns, and a lot of the times you're only getting, even in a fast-paced game, you're getting like, I don't know, 5 to 7 turns. So it's like you had to commit half the game just to killing Kevin. And, by that time their team is dead if they're so hyper focused on a 40-point piece. It's just, I mean, he's so good. He was criminally underrated. I don't think he'll be underrated for the foreseeable for until he rotates. I think he's gonna be a sought after piece for
hmm
sure. Yeah, Kevin didn't die all day. He got knocked off the map a couple times, but Kevin didn't die all day. Dude, I want to say this might be crazy, but I don't think Predagon died all day. So I'm trying to. He didn't die in my Joe out. No, no, Joe killed him. Joe did kill him in my top six. I think in my top 16 match, Joe is the only one that. Yeah, out of the top 16, Joe is the only one that killed Predagon. Yeah, he killed him on one of his alpha strikes with the King Deadpool and Elsa. He was playing an amazing team. That was. If anyone hasn't looked into the starter set Thor, the 50-point one with the 2 damage pulse wave, yeah, Joe had he had that Thor with Zala. He was playing a dropship warrior team with Zala and that Thor with Stormbreaker. So he comes in, he rivalries with Zala and makes the attack hit so he can drop off Thor. And then Thor pulse waves you for 2 damage. and then Stormbreaker knockback. So 3 damage Pulse Wave with penetrating, and it's been insane. And that Thor is actually pretty hard to put down. Like I don't know why I never even heard of that piece before I played against Joe, and it was just a crazy. The thing is though, like my team does pretty good into that, but still that's insanely deadly. And he came in for the alpha anyways. And I had my team bunched up all around Ghost Rider that match. It was a little bit different of a formation because I knew he was going to alpha strike me. And luckily, I think that I still could have won. It definitely would have changed the match a lot, but luckily I just hit. I hit two. I hit my Predagon shape change and I hit my Kevin shape change on his pulse wave
Oh
when he came
wow.
in. Yeah, when he came in and
Yeah.
alpha struck me, I hit both my shape changes on his pulse wave with and I didn't hit my other shape changes, but I hit those 2 shape changes. So he didn't kill anyone on his Thor Pulse Wave, which was just insane. No, no, no. He did kill both my time breakers, which was actually big. He did kill my time breakers with the Pulse Wave. I mispositioned my time breakers that match on Brock's bunker.
But
That was on live stream. That was a crazy
well, he
game.
wouldn't have killed Predagon. I mean, it's only 2 damage from the pulse wave, right? So he wouldn't have killed.
But it's knocked back into the wall though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
he would have knocked him. Yeah.
Thor has knockback with the pulse wave, or
No, no, he had Stormbreaker on him.
oh, Stormbreaker equipped
Yep.
to Thor.
Yep. Stormbreaker equipped to the Thor. That's why it was so nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very nasty build, man. And then he had King Deadpool and Elsa with trick arrows. And then he had and then the little Jeff the Shark that they spawn, obviously. Then he had Pegasus Cap with Mjolnir, the free Mjolnir. And then he had Elsa Bloodstone Prime. And then he had the War Machine from Black Panther, the 30 point, the one you can play at 30 points. I'd never heard of that piece either. That's why I love Joe's team because he's one of the most creative team builders, and he uses pieces that are slept on. This War Machine was crazy because it can use Perplex and Prob, and it can use them globally through your other pieces on your force as long as they share a keyword. And
Hmm.
he was playing theme team warrior. So this war machine is warrior. So he had a global prob and a global perplex with that war machine for only 30 points, and it's a rare, man. Like it's a really good piece. Now it is only 1 click long, but it doesn't matter because you're just leaving them in the back of the map. And he had the universal weapon on that war machine because he has sidestep, so it was a good TK piece. It was a
Yeah.
good telekinesis piece. And then he had Dream Ruby on somebody. I know he had the Dream Ruby. He had the Dream Ruby for the barrier. Yeah.
I know a lot of people are playing Dream Ruby on Ghost Rider, right? Or I've heard about that too.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually what Rob had on his build. It's really solid on Ghost Rider for sure. And really troll. Yeah, really troll. Because like Ghost Rider's already a piece that you are reluctant to target. Um, Now, and it's good to like hyper focus Ghost Rider in a lot of matchups because if you can just get past the Ghost Rider, it makes the rest of their team easier to get through, obviously, because he's like a core defensive piece. Um, but yeah, and then like if they put the Dream Ruby on them, and like say for instance, like you put the Dream Ruby with the little like Chitari Pog that you can copy the scroll TA.
Hmm.
So now you have a 50-50 shape change that damages you if you if they hit the shape change. And then like you have Kevin for the reroll on the shape change. It just gets nuts, man. Like you're yeah, the Dream Movie is insane on Ghost Rider too. I don't hate that play. I'm a big Crimson Gem guy right now. I'm gonna ride that way for a little while because I just love that the phone booth strategy with Ghost Rider. But Dream Ruby, if you're going to build Dream Ruby, I don't blame you at all. That's what Rob had on his runner-up build, and it was a great item on him.
So here's another question from McConnell.
Yeah,
Is there anything you would have changed on your team if you could do it differently?
yeah. Um, and just remind me, I don't know if I answered McConnell's other question. I think he had one
Oh, so
more.
his question before was, were there any other teams you were strongly considering playing? I know you guys tested out Hadari a lot, but
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
um,
For me personally, and I can maybe talk about some other builds that I played against while Dylan was practicing. Um, for me, it was really between Hadari and Ghost Rider as the two that I was going to build my team around. Um, but yeah, I think I might have touched on that. And my favorite Hadari build was my favorite Hadari build that I was thinking about playing was a butterfly. Um, Hadari at 100 with Hadari at 100 with uni weapon with the universal weapon. Butterfly at six. Yeah, butterfly obviously 60 points. 30 point Elsa Bloodstone with trick arrows, just in case I wanted to get trick arrows on Hadari, and then like a bunch of those like staple support pieces with range attackers like Weasel and Green Man and Chair Panther. I just love Chair Panther. He's so good. He always gets value with that trait. Um, so she was like hitting really hard on that build with the Weasel Pog and then I had Perdegaton on that as well. And that was a really good team. I could have done well with it, I think, but I don't think I would have won. I don't think I would have won the event. Just everyone's so scared of Hadari right now, and she's being looked at so heavily. Everyone was just counter building her. That's why I decided not to go with her. And I think Dylan pretty much did the same thing. Like everyone kind of got tired of getting just wiped off the map by Hadari Colossus, and people were just ready to beat her. But if I could have changed, so his second question, if I could have changed something about my team, let's think. Honestly, me and Rob Olger, who I played the championship match against, we're both like, we're gonna ride the Ghost Rider wave till he rotates out, and then even after he rotates out, we'll play him in Silver Age events. Uh, the first time I actually played, the first Worlds I went, or Worlds was this past Worlds was the first Worlds I went to. I actually played Rob in the sorry, there's a little bit of a rabbit trail. I'll get back to that question. I actually played Rob in the fifth round of Swiss. I actually played him in the last round of Swiss, and we were both running Ghost Rider. So it was funny. That was the first time I played against Rob. I met him there, and then I played him twice at ChampionClix, and we were both running Ghost Rider. Every time I played Rob, we've been running Ghost Rider, mirror matchups almost. But if I could have changed one thing about the team, after talking with some people, especially Rob, because he's a Ghost Rider main too. Um, Honestly, this might sound crazy to a lot of people, but I love that course so much with Ghost Rider with the booth and the support behind it. I just loved how it fit. Right now, I wouldn't change anything about Ghost Rider plus the support. I would change Colossus Prime. That's the piece I would change, which sounds insane. And I don't know if it's I don't know I don't know if I can find a more optimal build than that.
Hmm.
That's gonna be what I'm gonna be playtesting with for like nationals and worlds. If I'm definitely gonna try and go to worlds. I don't know if I'll make Nats, but and unfortunately I can't make Adepticon either. But I'm gonna try and make Nats and worlds for modern events. So if I continue to go with that build, I'm gonna knock. I'm gonna try knocking off the Colossus Prime and just try some other stuff in there. Obviously, try and probably fit a Prime in there. Not gonna give away all my tech that I'm working with right now,
I mean,
but
my first prime that I would, the only two primes that would be big candidates for me would be Black Panther Prime.
mhm.
I think he's kind of like, if you're not going to go with Colossus, Black Panther's a good substitute.
And the same points too. So pretty
Almost,
much.
yeah, pretty much the same
Well,
points.
he's actually cheaper because he gets the longsword for free. So it really when I take off Colossus on that team, it frees up 95 points because he had the motorcycle on him. So Black Panther Prime is actually a cheaper option because you're going to put the longsword on him. That's the best option.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've definitely looked at that, but
or
I mean, I'm not.
Spider Ham. Spider Ham looks
That's
good. Yeah, he looks good.
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Spider
That's
Ham looks good.
exactly what Spider-Man. If you see my post on Facebook right now, I'm trading. I can't get anyone to trade a Juggernaut because Juggernaut's going for like $90 right now for some
Really?
reason. So yeah, he's just insane, dude. He's going for like a chase price because I think the distro in some of the sets was was a little off, and like he's almost like a chase rarity, I think. So he's going for like $80 or $90. So I was just like throwing a trade out there to try and see if anyone would bite on a Spider-Ham Prime for Juggernaut. No one did. I got a lot of good trade offers, but now I put a new one that is Chase Thanos uh, from Collector's Trove, Namor with the Cosmic Cube, and Juggernaut with the Crimson Field offer Spider-Man Prime. I'm so high on that piece, and I don't want to pay the $90 for him though, just because I want to see if I can get him without having to pay money.
And also,
But
he goes good equipped with the Crimson Gem too. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
yeah
he's solid with the Crimson Gem. Yeah, run through walls, but I think he already has super strength though, right?
yeah he does. So yeah, I think he
That is
does.
the one. Yeah, that is the one thing. But it would give him run through walls and protect mind control. Um, I would probably if I'm so yeah. I guess the cat's out of the bag now with the Spider Man. I love that piece. I've never I haven't played him, so but I'm just so confident he's going to be so nasty. Like he's going to be so good, and I won't give away what those last like 40 points will be after Spider Ham, but. Spider Ham is probably my number one option going in that slot.
Okay,
You could
okay.
you,
You
if
can
you
keep
just use some if you can use some critical thinking skills, you can
yes.
probably think yeah, you can probably think about what's a couple of really aggravating pieces that are tie up pieces that you could throw on like any build. So just throw those on with Spider Ham in that Colossus slot on my team, and it would just make that team so hard to deal with. Like I think. But if I ran Spider Ham, I'm gonna try out at first Stormbreaker probably. Just because he has triple target, it gives him plus one attack and damage, so he gets the knockback on a triple target, which is nuts, and it's penetrating. And if he gets his double rolls that like knock through continuity or whatever, and knocks you back through five walls or whatever, you're going to be dealing penetrating damage. I'm not sure if they've ruled yet if you get one damage for each knock through on the
I don't
wall.
know the ruling about that. Yeah, that would be
how it's
crazy.
wor-
That would be really
how it
crazy.
yeah how it's worded based on knockback, I think he would, because I think it says if you just get knocked back into a wall you take a damage, so technically you're still hitting the wall each time you go through them, and you're going off of the elevated each time. So I want to say yes, but I don't. Which would just be nuts, absolutely nuts. But yeah, I think Spider-Man Prime is going to be and he gives Ghost Rider the Spider-Man family, which is solid. So that's definitely something to look at. Yeah,
Yeah,
Spider-Man Prime. I'm so high on that piece. I'm a believer.
he's got great keywords too. He's got cosmic. He's got
Doesn't he have
like
monster? Does he have monster?
yeah, he has monster. He has cosmic.
Monster Cosmic. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's insane. He's nuts, man.
I love him. So um yeah, so that was
And
McConnell.
so many people are sleeping on him too, because that's the thing, man. People see like a prime and they're like, "Oh, you don't." Well, I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of people are just like, "Oh, you don't put out enough damage, or you don't have flurry, or like they don't see the utility behind pieces." That's the same. It's the same reasoning why people don't like Ghost Rider or don't like building with Ghost Rider, because they don't see the overall utility. Like he's a good attacker, but that's not what he is. He's like a utility hybrid. Like he can do it all, man, and he can support a team. And that's the same thing you got to think about with Spider-Man Prime, that people global plasticity that you give to every teammate is insane. Like, and just combo that with a traffic barrel, it just like it's gonna be so toxic. It's gonna be so toxic, but so fun at the same time. And he has a wall crawler. He's got prop control, and then the knockback thing. He's an amazing piece. He's amazing. But sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna maybe see if you wanted to tell us about like your general experience at Orlando, like
Hmm.
the ChampionClix Open overall,
Yeah,
like what else did you do there? What was the dinner portion like? I know they have a dinner
yeah, like a entertainment type thing.
entertainment type thing. Um,
Yeah.
is there any like
Mhm.
stories that you had from the weekend that
Yeah. They're probably, if I thought about it, I could probably come up with a few stories. They're probably, 90% of them would be HeroClix related because, dude, honestly, I was playing like I'm the type of guy where if I go to an event for a specific thing, I mean, I like socializing and stuff, don't get me wrong, but like if I go down to an event for HeroClix, I'm gonna be clicking like I'm gonna be clicking almost the entire time, man. You don't have like a lot of time always to do these things, so I like to make the most of things. But let's see, funny moments. Yeah, dude. First of all, Dave, like you said earlier, David Newmark, man, he's a great guy for one. As well as just shout out to Dave Newmark. Man, I can't remember the guy that he works with that also like runs that store.
I
Um,
think his name's Chris. Chris, I think.
Maybe
Uh,
so. Yeah, but he's a great dude too. Sorry for forgetting his name. PJ, shout out to PJ.
yeah, the judges. The judges. Who were
Yeah,
the
the
judges?
judges,
PJ,
PJ
Lucas,
Lucas and Anthony
and Anthony.
Barnstable. Dude, they knocked it out of the park, man. And I mean, I think Lucas did too in the top four matchups. Not for me personally, I don't think, but just having PJ there in the championship match. Well, let's see. He did it for the top four match. My top four match. These are both on stream too. They're fun games to watch. But when me and Nick were playing against each other, like PJ came over there, and that was the first time I'd ever experienced active judging, like someone actively sitting there, making sure the game state is right, making sure, hey, like I could just because I have like I'm not gonna lie, I have like short-term memory loss when I'm playing HeroClix. Like I just have like once I get something ingrained in my mind, I have it, but it takes me a minute to get things. So I'll just forget. Like there was one time I was playing Rob in the championship match, and I had literally just supported with Kevin. And in the same turn, I tried to support with him again, and and PJ or no, I think Rob was like, "Didn't you just support with him?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I did." And PJ was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." So I just forget things like that, and everyone does, I'm sure. But like, and after a while, having PJ there in those last two matches I played, I would just look over at him and be like, have I used prob with Prodegaton this turn, or have I used this turn? And he was just like, yep, you're good, man. And he was keeping track of our vibranium markers on the sideline. He was keeping track of Beetlejuice tokens. He was keeping track of the points, which you don't need to be looking at the points so much and trying like you definitely don't need to stall or anything dirty like that. But you it like it's a fair thing to keep up with tracks, to track points in the middle of the game, and a lot of good players do it just to know where you're at, know what the like most important targets need to be at certain moments in the game, and it just keeps it like it keeps your mind kind of organized knowing that, but it takes up time during the game and it takes up brain space keeping track of points and stuff like that. For me anyways, I'm very like I'm very tunnel vision. Like I can hyper focus on something and be good at it, but I can't have like a lot of things going on in my brain at the same time. So having PJ over on the sideline, keeping track of the score for both of us in like a notepad, and he was like, "Hey, feel free to look at this during the game. Like I'm just going to have the score written here. I'm going to be keeping track of it." And that was just insanely just that was like one of the best play experiences I've ever had, man. And it just made the games run like smooth, so smooth. But that whole event, man, um, so good, dude. Like I can't speak good enough about ChampionClix, the team. Like I said, Dave Newmark, man, they just knocked it out of the park. The battle royales were the best battle royales I've ever played in. The best prizing. I loved how they did them. You did like two boosters per player, and then they'd have four boosters. You bought a brick together, so you'd have
Hmm.
four boosts. You'd have four boosters left over for the prizing as well, and then they plus on top of the Connelly's and all that stuff. So the prizing was really good for the BRs, and they were so fun.
Did you pull anything good?
Yeah, so as far as pools, uh, man, the last game I played in was like it was like a fun game, and like me and Kenny Minks and Matt Donham and John Burgess, we were playing BRs the last night there, and things got kind of serious the last game we played because like because I pulled a Mysterio, the Chase Mysterio from Spider-Verse, and I already had one, so it wasn't a
Mhm.
big deal for me. And I probably overreacted in certain situations, and so like so did Ellie. I think it was getting late and everything, and like there was some heated interact, not that heated, but it was like everyone got a little bit more intense because there was a very expensive chase on the board,
Yeah.
and and it was like we went from BR mode to actually trying to win again. So it was just a funny like thing. I actually lost that game. Kenny won the Mysterio, and I was glad for him. I mean, I already had Mysterio, so I wasn't that mad about it after I like sucked it up and stopped crying about it. But yeah, I had that Mysterio pull, but I ended up losing that one. But then I pulled a Mysterio from one of the BRs that I played in again. So I think that Mysterio is an amazing piece, by the way. We can talk about him later, but um, Mysterio is great. That was a great pull. And one of the things, so they had like you pulled two boosters at the same time, and then you pulled one from each pack and pass it around. I pulled a Spider-Man 2099 and a Sandman chase in one of the PRs, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is pretty much GG's." Like, and I just annihilated those dudes. And one of them was like, no, there was all of them were good players. Brody something, I can't remember his last name. He was a top eight. He was in the top eight for the 300 modern, and then Max Quintel, I think he was a really solid player too. And one of their friends, I think his name is Tyson, but that was a really fun one, and I won the Sandman chase from that one. The first match I played on Thursday night when I got down there was actually a BR against the Redmonds. I played against Ollie, Ryan, and Christine in a BR. That was really fun. Ollie hit a pulse wave. So this was before they actually changed the rules for the BRs like midway through the event because initially when we got down there they were like, okay, you play all 10 pieces that you pull from the BR, and that's 40 pieces on a battle royale board, and it makes the turn so slow.
Mhm.
So the first night we were down there, like Ollie, Ryan's son, he's probably 7 or 8, but he's a good player and a great dude. Uh, Great little guy. He had Spider Punk, and we were all bunched up in the middle of the map, and Ollie literally hit a pulse wave on us for like he had to have done like I think we calculated it was like 64 clicks of damage with one pulse wave. Because Spider Punk does 2 damage with his pulse waves, and all there was like 30 pieces that he pulse waved. It did 2 damage to everyone on the map, and it was just hilarious. But I won a Craven chase during that game. Um, let's see, I had so Craven chase, pretty much all the super rares, honestly, man. Um, let's see. I already have the super rare Prime Doc Ock, so I didn't need it. I don't even think I pulled it. The Chase Doc Ock, which he's like I could see some creative things with him, but I'm not. I never say never. I try and get creative, but he's kind of eh. Now the Prime Doc Ock is gross, but in my opinion, as far as chases, it was the Mysterio, the Sandman, the Doc Ock, and maybe one other. But yeah, those are about the best pulls from BRs. I played 5 or 6 throughout the weekend. So
Any other HeroClix highlights that you have from the?
yeah, here are Clix highlights. I jotted down a couple of things. Um, so I guess yeah, Matt, Donham, and Kenny, my teammates that I played with in Sealed. I had met Kenny once at a states event in North Carolina, but I had never met Matt. But we were talking leading up to the event, and when they walked in, they dress up at a lot of they dress up as characters and stuff when they go to a lot of these events. And when they walked in on Friday to the Alphabet Soup event, they were playing together. I recognized them instantly, and I knew they were going to be my teammates for the field. But they were dressed up. Matt was The Rock, and Kenny was Stone Cold. And they walked in with like a big intro, and Matt was like, Matt had a microphone, and they were just being obnoxious, but it was hilarious. It was like so funny, and I was like, "Yep, that's my teammates that I'm gonna be playing with in a couple days." So that was a funny memory. One of my buddies that I played against in the last round of Swiss, Evan Needham, really good player from North Carolina. He ended up making top 16. That was awesome. I barely beat him. He was running a double juggernaut team, which was gross. One juggernaut had the longsword for free because he's a brute, and the other one had Crimson Gem, and he was also playing Brother Voodoo Prime. So he could literally put 6 damage on someone guaranteed uh, from both the juggernauts because they get the free 2 damage a piece, and then he could Brother Voodoo token you. He almost beat me, but I actually pulled Cathan out that game, and I kind of just knew in my head that the match was about to end. Um, so I wasn't sure how the interaction worked, but at that point I was 4-0 in Swiss, and I didn't really care if I lost the match, and it was against one of my buddies. Um, so I wasn't sure how the interaction worked exactly, but I thought that maybe if it timed out while Cathan was on the map, it didn't make you lose the game. I wasn't sure, and I don't think Evan. I think Evan thought that I was definitely going to lose since I brought Cathan out. I actually put Cathan on my Pog that game, and I self killed my Pog and brought Cathan out. I just moved with my Pog of the power action and brought Cathan out. And Evan was like, "Wait, did you just lose?" And I was like, maybe. I'm not exactly sure how that works, kind of thing. And and so we played one turn. He passed, and I was like, or I don't think he passed, but he didn't have much to do. He cleared action tokens, and I had attacked with Cathan. So if you pull Cathan out on your own turn, it gives you 2 whole turns with Cathan because it's until your next turn, until the end of your next turn. That's when the end of the game happens. So I had two. I knew I had 2 whole turns to do whatever I was going to do. And if I didn't like finish them off or whatever, I lost. And there was no way I was going to kill his whole team. Um, but I knew that the time was getting close, and I wasn't stalling or anything. But you had that kind of like internal clock in your head, and time gets called. I think on his last turn, so it was about to go back to me, and that would have been the end of the game if the Cathan thing happened. But time got called. Cathan was out, and I was like, "So, do you know if I lose or not?" And he was like, "I think you do because Cathan's out, but we can call a judge." And PJ came over there and was like, "No, the game has to end for Cathan to actually make you lose the game." And I was like, "Oh gosh!" So I ended up winning that, and that was a funny memory. And thankfully, Evan still ended up making it into the top 16. I'm glad I didn't screw him. I'm glad I didn't screw him out of top 16. That interaction was
Wait, so explain that. So the game has to end. What do you mean? I'm a little confused about that. So
so when you bring Cathan out.
yeah.
So if your Cathan character dies, you can bring Cathan out, and it says on Cathan's card at the end of your next turn, or if you bring Cathan out this way at the end of your next turn, the game ends and you lose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But it never made it to the end of your next turn.
it never made it to the end of my next turn, um, and if you say it like with the Pog, I had Cathan on the Pog that game because Evan was running Bloodstone, so I didn't want to put Cathan on Ghost Rider for the unavoidable that he couldn't heal back up. I just self killed. I just moved with the Pog, and it made him die because Cathan damage unavoidable. And I decided to bring Cathan out. So if you bring him out on your turn, you get 2 turns with Cathan because it's the end of your next turn.
Hmm.
So you get that whole turn where you brought him out from self killing your person, and you get him on the next turn. So and then time just ran out. I can't remember if it was my turn or his turn, but 2 whole turns hadn't passed, and so I didn't lose the game. But yeah, if it makes it to the end of your next turn, and your turn ends and Cathan is on the board, you lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is insane. Which is
That's
insane.
that's
Yeah.
crazy that you get 2 turns with Cathan. That's really good.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Yeah, because if you have that internal clock in your head and you're like, there's no way two more turns are gonna happen in this game, you can just bring Catan out and you're like, okay, now you got to deal with the 300 point figure for free that I got for free,
Hmm.
which is just crazy. So that was a funny memory. See, I was playing in a game. It was me and Rob Olger, the guy I played in the championship match. We actually played in Swiss in the third match, I think, or the fourth match. And beside us was Joe Alves and Evan, who I was just talking about, my buddy. They were playing, and this was crazy just to witness. They were beside us, so I was kind of like, I had my eye on their game just a little bit. Um, Evan beat Joe and his Cathan won the game for him. They were ended up being no piece. Joe scored 300 points on him, but Evan won the game because his Cathan came out and wiped Joe's team, which
Really?
was yeah, which was insane. Like I've never seen that happen in a competitive game before. Most people were just trying to bring Cathan out to score more points or whatever. But like he wiped Joe's team with Cathan, even though Joe had wiped his entire team, which is just nuts, like just crazy. So that was insane to see. Honestly, man, just playing Clix the whole time. It was just a fun time, man. Just getting in there, meeting new people, playing Clix. It was just awesome. Like I said, I got to play my first battle royale of the weekend against the Redmonds from ChampionClix, which was awesome. Ollie winning the Oliver winning the Oliver Redmond winning the fellowship award was awesome to see because dude, that guy's like that is what every HeroClix player should strive to be is Ollie Redmond, man, because he is like the best sport. You never see him like mad or like I'm sure he gets sad about some things, but I never saw him with a frown or anything. Like he was just happy about just being there, being able to play. He came up to me and congratulated me on my win after 300 Modern. The next morning, he was talking to me about my prizing and stuff. He was really excited for me and just congratulating me. He was just like a good-hearted dude, a good-hearted kid, man. So just meeting him was awesome. Um, Emily Roette, she's a great player, and me, her, and Kenny Minks had a hilarious battle royale. That was the funniest match I played all weekend. I think that might have been after the entertainment night, and I think both of them had partaken in the elements just a little bit, and they weren't like crap faced or anything, but it was just a hilarious game, and we were just playing that kind of clicks where we were still like doing things and still trying to win or whatever, but it was like we didn't really care, which is just like it makes the game hilarious, especially if you're playing with like good players. So that was probably the most funny game of the weekend. But yeah, just shout out to PJ, Lucas, Anthony Barnstable, Newmark again, great guys. Nick Madsen, awesome dude. It was awesome to meet him. He unfortunately he lost to my buddy. In my buddy Dylan in the World Championship, but he's a great player. We had like a running kind of like inside joke sort of thing, like that he needs to bring some of his posse from Las Vegas to come play, um, to come over here to the East Coast so he doesn't keep on getting like bullied by the North Carolina dudes because now he's lost in like two really big events to North Carolina players in like the top four or top two. So that was just a funny thing. But I honestly just kind of had a matchup against him. That's the reason why that game went the way it did. He was playing a collector build, and I just kind of went straight for his support on the alpha. And then after that, I just brought Beetlejuice out, and he couldn't really do anything because Beetlejuice is kind of hard on collector. But he had a great build with collector. He had Crimson Gem, Universal Weapon, and trick arrows on his collector, which was awesome. But it wasn't even the Beetlejuice that screwed him that bad. It was the traffic barrel that won me that game. Like the traffic barrel is insane against collector on Brock's bunker because He can't run through walls anymore with the Crimson Gem. He can't even. So, like, if you just watch that game on the stream, so many of the placements with the traffic barrel stuff was so confusing for both me and Nick that, like, PJ had to constantly remind us, like, because he's a colossal, so he breaks away for free, but he doesn't get the improved movement, like, move through characters. So he breaks away for free because you get that from being a colossal, but you can't move through Ghost Rider or Colossus during your movement. So like just the way I was positioned, it made him very hard for him to get to my back line. So he couldn't really do anything the whole game. And even when he did get away from my Colossus and Ghost Rider, I just repositioned the rest of my team away so he couldn't target him. And his Mern was already dead at that point, so he didn't have the improved targeting anymore. But he's a hilarious dude, man. He's a great player, great team builder. He comes up with some nasty like tech that I don't even want to discuss, man, because it's like disgusting, like just so nasty. Like he's a great player though. And it's just like me and Rob Olger, the dude I played against. It was great meeting him again and playing the championship against and just being up against another dude that believed in Ghost Rider as well. Even though that's like a written off piece for a lot of people, or it was. That was awesome. Like put some respect on Ghost Rider's name. That's what me and Rob were saying, kind of thing. And just running main force juice was in like that was just so nuts that he made top like that he was the runner up of the event. Like so
For which event? The 300 modern.
300 modern, yeah,
He ran main
yeah,
force juice for 300 modern,
yeah, yeah,
and came in second. Oh yes,
yeah,
yes. So talk
yeah.
about that. Talk about that match
Oh
then.
yeah, yeah. I hadn't
So
even
talk about the
yeah,
finals. Yeah.
hadn't talked about the finals match. So yeah, Rob, we had played earlier in the day, man, and he was probably he was probably he was probably my hardest matchup of the day. Just briefly before I talk about oh yeah, I want to give us some shout outs to a couple of the players with some of the matches I played. So I played Dylan Casabom. Obviously, everyone, I mean, he's a world champion. Obviously, he's a great player. I edged him out like 30 to 20 or something like it was a super low scoring game. He just couldn't hit a lot of his rolls. He had some bad luck that game, so I edged him out on that one. That was in Swiss. That was a super tough game. The game I mentioned against Evan Needham. There was also a game, man, I can't remember. Hold on, I think I wrote this guy's name down. Nathan Floonmayer. He was playing Rogue Prime at 175, and he almost beat me in the first match of the day. And that was crazy because Ghost Rider kind of counters Rogue. And I last actioned him and killed his Rogue like on the last action. Um, so he was a great player. Let's see some other guys. Ryan Redmond. Ryan Redmond, dude, we had such a crazy match, and I think I ended up beating him like 25 to 10, and I alpha struck his Perdegaton and his time breakers. He had a Blue Beetle team, Blue Beetle Prime. So respect to him for playing Blue Beetle Prime. Like Blue Beetle was a great piece. Like don't sleep on Blue Beetle. But just in my head, I hadn't played against Blue Beetle in so long. I mispositioned my Ghost Rider, and he had like a clear shot on Blue Beetle to try and delete him because he's higher points than Ghost Rider, so he can literally just remove him from the game with his trait if he hits, and then you roll a d6,
Hmm.
and if you hit a 5 or 6 on the hit, you literally wipe Ghost Rider off the map or anybody less points. So he did that, man, and it was like kind of a Hail Mary at that point because I was up points and the game was about to end, but he would have definitely won if it got pulled off. He hit the attack because he had like a 14 attack. I missed both my shape changes, and man, my heart was pounding, and I think his probably was too. He was kind of holding the dice in his hand, like the delete. He was about to try and get the delete ray off of me, and he was holding his dice. And I was like, "This is a big one, ain't it?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is a big one." And then he rolled the dice, man, and it like I swear that thing spun around for like 20 minutes, dude. But then it showed up a 4, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, Lord." Um, but like, luckily, fortunately, the dice roll just turned out for me that game, and he didn't get the delete off. But my tournament would have been over in top 8 at that point if he would have just deleted them in Blue Beetle. And so that was some major mispositioning on my part. But that was a crazy game. And then the Nick game I've already talked about a little bit. That was on stream. But yeah, the match against Rob. So he was playing against. I played him earlier in Swiss. He was playing Main Force Juice with the motorcycle on the Super Sense charge. So he gets +2 movement with a charge, and he's already got sidestep. So it's pretty crazy. He has like a 8 or 9 square charge with the sidestep
Mm-hmm.
accounted for. And then he gets double rollouts because he's got shape change super senses. He's got shape change his whole dial. And he was playing Ghost Rider, obviously, because we're both Ghost Rider guys. And his Ghost Rider did have Dream Ruby. So he's playing the Ghost Rider Dream Ruby that you don't really want to attack. Um, he was playing Ghost Rider Dream Ruby. He was playing 2 Daredevils, and this shocked everyone. It shocked me at first a little bit, but once I saw it in action in our Swiss matchup, it didn't surprise me anymore. It was nasty. He had two Daredevils at 10 points, one with Stormbreaker and one with Trick Arrows. And like I told people about that, and they were like, he's got 2 10-point daredevils that are equipped like with offensive weapons. Like, why is he doing that? And I was like, I don't really know why he built that, but dude, if you see it in action, trust me, it's scary. Like it's scary because if one of those daredevils, especially the one with trick arrows, if one of those daredevils gets a hit off on like Colossus or Ghost Rider for that matter, you can just trick arrow hypnotic, and that's what he did the first match. He trick arrow hit Ghost Rider, I think, or maybe he hit Colossus. He trick arrowed, hit Colossus, and then hypnotic them. So that's the like mind control one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like mind control without being mind control. It's kind of weird. Uh, that's the one where you can like make them attack and then move them. That's really good against Ghost Rider because you can just get that displacement and get Colossus away from Ghost Rider. So it was very scary against my team having trick arrows on that Daredevil, and and then like there's the one where I think it's Phantom Zone. That's also really good against Ghost Rider because you can just hit them and then you can make them spawn to the back of the map. So like displacement with the trick arrows is really good, and the daredevils are so hard to kill, even at 10 points. It's like you don't really want to invest an attack in killing these daredevils because they're 10 points and they take 2 entire turns to kill most of the time because they're just going to roll the d6 after they like die or whatever. They're going to roll a d6. If they hit anything except the one, they're immune for an entire turn. So it's just like you're not going to kill them in one turn. And so it's not bad having a 10-point equipment on them because it takes 2 entire turns to kill them. So they're going to be able to get a couple of hypersonics in and get some damage off, man. And it was really deadly having those 2 daredevils along with his defensive structure. So he's having like Beetlejuice obviously does what Beetlejuice does, and Main Force Juice, like just talking to Rob after the event, he was just talking like everyone was not prepared for Beetlejuice being Main Force like at all. Like he was saying he would just like Main Force, he would put him on the board and they were like, "Oh, you're playing him Main Force. That sucks." like like just not prepared for him, and I don't really blame the players because no one no one has been talking about Beetlejuice Main Force. Like everyone has been kind of doubting him, but I don't think people will doubt him anymore because man, Rob was just he was 7-2 on the entire day, and I was both of his losses.
Mm-hmm.
I was his only 2 losses, and I think it was just he could have won. He could have won, but it was a tough matchup because the Colossus. I would say was the Colossus was the difference maker in our matchups. It's hard to get through Colossus with that 22 defense, man. And the first game we played, I missed position and had my Ghost Rider up a little too far. He put me on like a really open map. So it was just going to be a brawl in the center of the map. I think it was Blitz Creek, Manhattan, I think is the name of the map. I mispositioned my Ghost Rider and he just alpha strikes. I think I missed like 4 or 5 shape changes in a row and he just killed Ghost Rider like turn one. He killed Ghost Rider, and I was like, "Oh crap, this might be this might be game." But I kind of had like a game plan already in my head for the next turn. So when the turn started, I think I flipped. And I think looking back, Rob said he mispositioned his Beetlejuice, which he kind of did, but he was in front of a wall, so I knew I could get one knockback damage off of him with Colossus, but I couldn't charge Mind Control because he had displaced my Colossus with the Hypnotic era, and so I switched Kevin to Empower to give Colossus +1 damage, um, and then I went in with the charge. Then I went in with just a regular charge because that's all you can do with Colossus as long as Beetlejuice is on the board. I think I also sidestepped my Lucas PJ Scott Pog to get another Empower on it. So I was hitting for like 6 damage because I think he had damaged my Colossus like 1 or 2 clicks. Um, and I needed some extra damage, so I sidestepped the Pog to get the Empower because Lucas PJ Scott Pog has Empower, and then I flipped the Kevin. I flipped my Kevin to Empower to give it, and he can do Empower from 8 squares away too on Colossus, just like the support thing. So I ran in there. I just hit his Beetlejuice and knocked him into the wall, and literally one shot his Beetlejuice. He missed his he missed his he missed a shape change and a super senses, so I got lucky on that. Um, because if he would have hit his rollout on that attack, it was GG's. Like there was no way I was winning that. It was kind of a Hail Mary. And his Ghost Rider was beside Beetlejuice, so the Battle Fury wasn't going to get around their shape changes either. So he missed both of his rollouts with Beetlejuice. And I just one shot his Beetlejuice on the follow up attack from his Alpha Strike. And after
Mhm.
that, it was kind of GG's because now I have my Charge Mind Control back, and none of his pieces were going to be able to hit my Colossus. And the crazy thing about that is that same turn. This is another thing about Scarlet Witch as Ghost Rider's pilot that people don't think about is she's insanely good when she comes out on her last click. She has a 10 attack Pulse Wave with prob control, but the Pulse Wave is a special Pulse Wave that if you hit instead of dealing normal damage, you can choose that everyone becomes immobile. All opposing characters become immobile. So he dumped all of his attacks into killing my Ghost Rider, so he couldn't follow up and do anything else. So my Scarlet Witch was out on the map, and then when my Colossus came in, he one shot his Beetlejuice, and then Scarlet Witch pulse waved everyone, and his entire team, his 2 Daredevils and his Ghost Rider were locked down and couldn't move for an entire turn.
Wow.
So yeah, it was game after that, and we both were playing Predagon. We were playing Kevin. He couldn't fit the Towerette on his Kevin, and we were both playing Ghost Rider. So like 130 or 40 points of our build were the same, but the differences for on his team were the 2 Daredevils that were equipped and the Beetlejuice main force. And then that was the first match we played, and then the last game. Shout out Logan again, Logan Growney, that guy I was talking about earlier. He's a great player, but going into that last match against Rob, we were kind of talking strategies and stuff. He was giving me some tips, and he was saying that um, do I really need initiative with my team? And I really don't, honestly. I don't really care to go first. It's nice sometimes, but just with my specific team, it's not needed. Now on some teams it is obviously, but he gave me the advice like I have Traffic Barrel. Rob does not have Traffic Barrel. So why not just put Rob on like Bloodstone Maze? Because that makes Rob's positioning extremely hard because he's got so many multi-base characters, the 2 Daredevils and the Ghost Rider. So it makes positioning for his team extremely hard. He can't run through walls with Beetlejuice because of Traffic Barrel, and I can run through every wall with Ghost Rider and Colossus. So if you watch that match on the stream, you can just see how the positioning and the traffic barrel pretty much made that matchup so much more easy for me. And I actually won initiative roll. I said I'll go first, and I thought about it for a second, and I was like, you know what, Logan made a lot of sense with that point he made. And then I was like, you know what, man, I think I'm gonna pick Matt. And Rob said after the game, he was like, yeah, dude, when you decided to pick Matt, I pretty much knew I lost the game because that map, like Bloodstone Maze, was so hard for him with the traffic barrel. And he actually on his initial attack when he engaged. So the way that game went, I set up just like I had been, like we talked about earlier. I set up just like I did. He set up in his defensive structure. He had both Daredevils up front, and he had the traffic barrel in front of him. And I mean, this isn't really secret tech anymore because you can see it on the live stream, but it's a crazy cool ability. This is what's also awesome about Ghost Rider with the phone boost and the Crimson Gem. So a hypersonic in with Ghost Rider on the way to the attack, make sure that you drop the phone booth because you don't want to give your enemies shape change. So on the hypersonic, on the first move of the hypersonic, you drop the phone booth, and then he had his phone booth on the map in front of both of his Daredevils. I just ran through his phone booth with Ghost Rider, who had Crimson Gem, and destroyed it, and destroyed his phone booth. Attacked both of his Daredevils. I killed both of them, but they don't go off the map. They just spawn back, and then I just hypersonic back with my second move and just pick up my phone booth again. And that's what I did. And I ran back. And then I didn't even go in with Colossus, which was kind of insane to some people probably. But it was just a positioning thing. If you watch the map, it might seem like a dumb play. But just in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm up 20 points already. He can't get to my back line. My back line, he literally on that map, there's no way he can get to my back line with the traffic barrel on the map. So I just ran my Colossus up in front of Ghost Rider and just parked it there and didn't even go in to attack because I knew he was going to have to get through that tunnel with Ghost Rider and Colossus, and he couldn't get around them. And I was like, okay, he has to come to me now because he's behind points. And if he doesn't come to me, now I can march Ghost Rider and Colossus up together. And, it's going to be downhill for him from there. So he had to come in on me for the attack, for the retaliation. And when he attacked me with his Ghost Rider, this is the crazy thing. And you'll see this watching if you watch the match. He crit hit my Colossus after we had burnt all of our Kevin rerolls, all of our probs, everything. He crit hit my Colossus with his Ghost Rider for 6 damage because his Ghost Rider had with the Dream Ruby had Chthon on him as well. So he crit hit for 6 damage. So I was only going to take 4, which is a significant amount of damage. And this was this is the second turn. So it was huge. Like it was a huge moment. I was like, oh crap, did I just lose? And I just completely forgot to use Fortify, which is just like insane. Like I just forgot Fortify because in my head I was like, I just assumed in my head I was like, okay, he hit me for 5 damage, and then I think the crit hit it didn't register. I was like, he just hit me for 5 + 1, so he's still doing 3, but then he gets an additional damage. So it didn't even register that he just dealt 4 damage to me, so I could have propped the fortify. And luckily, it didn't like he wasn't able to hit Colossus like the rest of the game, and that was the lowest my Colossus got all day was click 5, and it was off of a crit hit. And then it was crazy in that game. I ended up moving my Black Panther up behind Ghost Rider to kind of cut off another path,
Mm-hmm.
and he came in around me with Beetlejuice and Ghost Rider. I think he was going to try and kill Black Panther, but he mind controlled my Black Panther and made Black Panther attack my Ghost Rider. Luckily, my Black Panther only rolled like a 2 on the blades with the longsword. But then on the next turn, I try and attack his Beetlejuice with my Black Panther with a longsword. He shape changes it, so the attack goes to his Ghost Rider. He misses his shape change, and I roll a 6 with the longsword on my legacy Black Panther, and it's actually a 7 because of the longsword gets +1. So my Black Panther like one shot his Ghost Rider, which was freaking nuts.
Wait, his Ghost Rider or
Um,
his Beetlejuice?
his Ghost Rider because I
His Ghost
tried
Rider.
targeting
Okay.
yeah I tried targeting Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice hit his shape change,
Okay.
so it had to switch to Ghost Rider, and I think his Ghost Rider was on like click 2 or 3, but I hit him for 7 damage with my 30 point Legacy Panther, and I didn't even move him up there to try and attack. I was just trying to like block off a path. And I don't think it would have changed the game anyways. Me killing his Ghost Rider with that.
He
I think I
also,
could
you
have.
said he also killed your Ghost Rider too, though, right? He.
That was the first game.
Oh,
That
that
was the
was in the
first.
first. That was
Yeah,
in the first game.
yeah.
Okay.
That was in the first game. He killed my Ghost Rider. I think that's the only piece he killed in the first game, and then the second game he didn't kill anything. He scored 5 points in our championship match, and it was my rivalry.
Hmm.
But it was a lot. Just if you watch that game, it was a lot more tense of a game than it seemed. I think it was 95 to it was like 90-5 or something like that. I didn't kill that much. I killed his Ghost Rider with that. Other than that, I only scored like 20 points off the Daredevils.
Yeah.
Um, so that was just nuts killing his Ghost Rider. That was one of the craziest moments of the event for me. Was that was the only time I attacked anyone the entire tournament with Black Panther, and he literally hit for 7 damage on a Ghost Rider in the championship. So Black Panther's got that dog in him. He's got that clutch dog in him. Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever. Yeah, so Black Panther came up huge. So that those are great memories. And just to close out some of the other memories, maybe just hmm, honestly just randomly linking up with Clark and Clark Grantham, great player, and Matt Donham and Kenny Minks, all great dudes, all amazing players, and and that was just awesome. Like going to the event last minute because of, Dylan was telling me how good of an event it was and stuff. But he already had his team, he already had his buddies going with him. So I didn't have most of the time when I go, I have a couple of my local guys that play with me go to these events with me, but they didn't have enough of a notice to go. And I'm fortunate to just like be able to take some time off when I need to. And I was able to just go last minute and get those teammates. And they ended up being great players and just had a great time with them.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'm glad that it went well. I'm glad that you won. That everybody had fun. I mean, it is an amazing event. I can't say more about the ChampionClix Open as being a top-notch major event in HeroClix run by David Newmark.
For sure.
It's such an awesome time. Looking forward to going myself again. And yeah, I'm glad you had fun. I'm
Yeah,
glad you
it
had
was
fun.
amazing. Yeah, I would
Uh,
recommend everyone going to that event. It was, I mean, I haven't been to the most events, but I have been to Rock Cup. I've been to Worlds, and they are great events. Don't get me wrong; they're awesome in their own right. Especially Rock Cup. I love Rock Cup, but this one took the cake for me, I think. And I mean, I did win the event, and I had a really good weekend, obviously. But even beyond that, just the how it was ran, the judging was just so good, man. PJ is he's on top of it, and Lucas and Anthony obviously were great. But PJ is going to get this game going in a better direction, even better than it currently is. But sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
no, no, no. I was just gonna ask. I had another question for McConnell because he did post some other questions on Facebook. What are you? What is some like a new fit? I know we already talked about Spider Ham. Is there anything else from Spider Verse that you're looking to build around, or maybe for Silver Age? Are you into Silver Age? Are you?
Yeah, I love Silver Age, man.
So is there something you're trying to build on around on Silver Age, or?
Yeah, um, pretty much. You know, I try as much of a Ghost Rider guy as I am, and I've been like so bent on playing him this past year and a half or whatever, however long he's been out. I do try and get creative, but right now it's so hard. It's so hard for me to get away from Ghost Rider. I just love the piece, man. He's my favorite piece. So I start I start with him a lot of the times, but I think I might try and branch out. We'll see how it is. I'm a huge Arachnite guy too.
I love
That was
Arachnite.
yeah,
That's one of my
yeah,
guys. One of my favorites.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. Arachnite is amazing, man. Him and Ghost Rider are like my two favorite clicks to play of all time, and together they're amazing. They're amazing together. Like Ghost Rider complements the Arachnite just like he complements Colossus. Except Arachnite, I'm not gonna say he's better than Colossus. I think he's just as good as Colossus, and he's a lot more fun he's a lot more fun of a piece than Colossus is. Colossus is just like brute force, like go and punch things and mind control for 5 damage. Colossus is just like kind of cheesy and OP. But Arachnite is just like fun. He's got so many crazy interactions with the teleport that he can do like middle of attack. And then, comboing that with Ghost Rider is so fun. So I might try and combo them together. I might run Arachnite at 100. Who knows? You do have to be a little bit careful with Arachnite and Silver Age, because Beetlejuice does hurt him kind of significantly, because he can't pick powers as long as Beetlejuice is on the map.
Hmm.
So if you know that they're going to Beetlejuice you, if you know that they're going to bring out Beetlejuice eventually, you need to go ahead and pick one of his like attack powers, either like Flurry. If you're playing him with on full dial and he's got charge, you could pick Flurry if you needed to, or which I guess that wouldn't be the best either, because then Beetlejuice would, you couldn't charge Flurry. So like when I play against Beetlejuice with Arachnite, I just go ahead and pick Hypersonic before they bring him out. So when they bring him out, he's got Hypersonic for the rest of the game. Um, and Beetlejuice isn't like the worst against him, because he does have a 4 through 6 super senses that now can't be outwitted ever, because Beetlejuice is on the map. But Beetlejuice does hurt Arachnite a little bit, so you have to think about Beetlejuice for sure in every regard of the game, but especially if you're going to try and play a piece like Arachnite. But those two pieces are something I'll start with, but definitely in Silver, same thing. Spider-Ham Prime is going to be something I'm looking at, in Silver Age. And first off, shout out to Aaron Morgan, Silver Age guy. He's
Hmm.
a great dude, but like he puts so much work into that format, and I just love Silver Age. Like I know there's like it's like controversial topic, the whole Silver Age thing, because it's such a wide format, but I think it's so good for the game to have a Silver Age format, like a legacy format like that, to first of all, just keep you playing your favorite pieces that you just love, man. Like,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, keep you playing the pieces like we were just talking about, like Arachnite, man. Like I can name off 20 more pieces like Arachnite. Let's think. I mean, some people love Blackheart, like the X-Men Rise and Fall Blackheart.
Hmm.
He's an awesome piece. Venom Magneto, Carnage Silver Surfer, like Sakarian Iron Man, like all these crazy pieces that we couldn't really, that just kind of go to waste if there's not a legacy format in the game. Um, because like no one wants to have a Sakarian Iron Man in their collection if that piece's like value gets chopped in half, or sometimes even worse. Because like you got like $100 piece, and now he rotates out of Modern Age, and he instantly drops to 40 or $50, because oh, I can't play him in Modern anymore, and there's no other format to play this piece that I love. So like it doesn't even feel that good to have that piece anymore. Even though it's a great piece, you can only really play it casually at that point. And so that's why I think like a format like Silver Age is like essential. Now, like obviously, Aaron would agree. There's always going to be changes that need to be that need to be made. One of the big ones, that a lot of people have talked about, that I think would solve a lot of things, but is just making it like a Highlander format, to where you couldn't play like busted combos like double and triple Saturnine to make like a -3 attack on the attack rolls, like stuff like that. Just making it Highlander would cut a lot of that out. Um, but I think Silver Age is just great for the game. It keeps value on your pieces. I think I already mentioned that, but just keeping like Arachnite is a Silver Age piece. He's been rotated like for over 6 or 7 months now, and he's still going for $200 or 150 to $200, which is it's not bad. I know for the players that want to get those pieces for cheaper, it's like, oh, but I want them pieces to be cheaper, so I can play with them, and I get that. I do get that for sure. But at the same time, you got to think about the people that like either bought those pieces cash, or like traded an arm and a leg to get their Arachnite. And now, like if we didn't have a legacy format, Arachnite would be like 75 or $100, and they might have traded $300 worth of pieces to get Arachnite. So now
Hmm.
with that legacy format, he keeps his value, and they feel good about that trade still. So that's why I love Silver, man. But as far as other pieces to build in Silver, Mysterio is going to be big. I think he's going to be big in whatever format, and he is so good. Uh, Beetlejuice does hurt him. Beetlejuice does hurt him to be sure, but him and Colossus is going to be amazing. Honestly, I thought about him as a butterfly swap at 50 because he doesn't lose anything except one defense value. He keeps a 12 attack. He's got triple target. He's got prob, shape change, super sense. He's so good, man. And the little teleport he can do through his Mysterio bystanders that he spawns or pieces that he spawns
Hmm.
is so good. Legacy Iron Man from this piece is slept on. Legacy Iron Man from Collector's Trove. Me and Dylan did some test building with him. That was another team to go back to the questioner's question that he asked. Um, if I would have had more practice time, I might would have played Legacy Iron Man. If you haven't looked at it, I think he's 009. He's got one of the craziest traits in the game. He used to be an insane piece in Golden Age. He was like an anti-relic piece, anti-relic and anti-resource piece. But now he's an anti-equipment piece because he's a pretty good attacker. He's 100 points or 50 points, and I think he's like 8 clicks long. And his stats and abilities aren't insane, but his trait is his selling point. So when he gets hit by an equipped character, instead of normal damage, you roll a d6. On a 1 through 3, you take 1 damage instead. On a 4, 5, 6, you take no damage. So he's at max at max damage that he can take from an equipped character is 1.
Yeah.
And then 4, 5, 6, he takes nothing. And it's protected pulse wave. So no Hadari pulse wave that gets through it. So it's
And
insane.
and
Like if you
everybody's running equipment, right? So like,
everyone's running equipment. Yes. So like me and Dylan test played it against Dylan, and he's like, oh, okay, I see. Like, but he wasn't familiar with the piece. But like he was I think he was running double Juggernaut or Juggernaut and Ulysses Bloodstone, I think. That's when we decided that we hated Ulysses as a piece. Um, but he was running like equipment on all of his attackers, and why would you not? There's so much great equipment in the game right now. But at the same time, that Iron Man, he gives him free reign on the map because he can literally just run around. He's 8 clicks long with reducers, and if you hit him with an equipped character, you're not doing anything to him. Like the best you're going to do is 1 damage, and it's a 50. You have a 50% chance to just do 1 damage. Like, and the other 50% of the time he's not taking anything. So it's just so debilitating to go against that piece if your whole team is equipped. So I think he's going to make some splashes like out of nowhere.
that's like
And
a
you can
butterfly swap, right? Or
Yep, well, you can butterfly swap them. When I played him against Dylan, I actually ran him with Mern. I played, I just played him at 100 points with the universal weapon, and uh, and the team did really good. I just hadn't practiced with it enough, so I wasn't comfortable with playing with it. So I think I won that match, but it was just like he can't die, man. At 100, like I think and it's all damage. Like it's poison damage. It's not attack damage. It's all damage. So like all the effects, like Brother Voodoo, Prime, the Juggernaut guaranteed damage, all of that he gets his roll on. Anytime he gets damaged, period, not just from an attack. Anytime he gets damaged at all, he Colossus mind control. It does like Colossus mind control doesn't get around that. He gets the roll, and you're only going to be dealing 1 damage maximum to him and 0 damage half the time. So like he is an insane piece. I like him at 50. Oh, I like him at 50 main force. I like him at 50 as a butterfly swap, and I also like him at 100 with equipment. I just think people need to get creative with him and try him out. I'm going to be trying him out. He's a great piece though. Like people are sleeping on him big time. He does need some like stat bumps. Like he needs like a weasel and a like green man with him and stuff like that is really good. Obviously,
Hmm.
Mern is huge on him. He's double target with 8 range, which is significant. Um, so he can literally like just if he has Mern with him, he can nuke like Predagatons, time breakers, stuff like that that are very Mernable. And I think he needs Mern with him. That's just my personal take. You could run him with Butterfly, but I think he needs Mern with him because of plant teams, because plant teams are not running a lot of equipment. So that would be a counter team for that Iron Man. But if you had Mern, it wouldn't matter because now you can just snipe the plants from all the way across the map. You outrange them, and I think you could make it a pretty good match even against plants. So that Iron Man Prime Doc Ock from Spider Verse is amazing in my opinion. He's kind of a don't die piece a little bit. He doesn't do the most damage, but with the stunner generation that he does, and then just playing a stunner main force with him is going to be insane because he does the global mind control. I mean, the global mastermind. So you can literally just play stunner in the back of the map and mastermind across the map, which is just nuts. And his biggest weakness is going to be you need to get a way to get outwit protection. Outwit protection is going to be his biggest weakness. So either like an equipment like that 25-point from the Dream set, but I don't really like paying 25 points for equipment, and especially because like equipment can be stolen from Elsa and other things. That would just be rough to have that stolen. So I kind of like the idea of comboing him with like with a Ghost Rider maybe to give him protected outwit, or even there's some other stuff or Beetlejuice would be great to play with him. Maybe even a main force Beetlejuice. I don't know. You could get creative because if they can't outwit that mastermind and it's a global mastermind, like how do you kill that piece? Like how do you kill that piece?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the only thing I know that kind of gets around it is rivalry. But that's only a one hit thing, so you're not going to one shot him. He's like 8 clicks long, and you could play other like Don't Die Tech, like Death Metal Wonder Woman with him to even counteract that rivalry. So he is going to be extremely good, I think. We've already talked about Spider Ham. That's the piece I'm most high on right now as far as new pieces go. I haven't even played them. I believe in them without playing them. Um, Collector, Ultra Chase. I love Collector. I think he's good for the game. I know a lot of people hate playing against him and just hate the piece in general, but I think that's what an Ultra Chase should be, in my opinion. Like really strong, but not overpowered. He's not overpowered, in my opinion.
No, I don't
Um,
think he's overpowered.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think he's balanced, and I mean he is strong. He's very strong. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's balanced, and I think that's what an Ultra Chase should be: have crazy good abilities, but not be overpowered, and just unique abilities. He's so cool. Just seeing Nick's tech that he was running on Ultra Chase Collector made me a believer. I I thought about just playing a team with like Ultra Chase Collector and Ghost Rider on it, just so he could like no one can get around to stop clicks. Um, but pretty much like that's kind of how I build right now in the meta is like I just love Ghost Rider so much. So there's a joke with like me and a couple friends. Like every team I build, I'm like, oh, I'll just put a Ghost Rider on it and make it better. Um, but let's see, yeah, Mysterio and Colossus together is going to be pretty strong with the mind control. Molecule Man, I love Molecule Man. Molecule Man is solid. Him with the Cosmic Cube is hilarious. If you haven't looked into that,
well,
um,
we just played a local tournament at my venue. It was featured in my last episode. Somebody ran Molecule Man with the Yaka arrows.
oh yeah,
It was great. Like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, getting to do the double move.
yeah, and they won
Yeah,
the event too with that. It was a 2v2 event, but yeah, it was a really good combo.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely thought about that one. The Cosmic Cube one is pretty crazy too. If you're just trying to use him more as like a utility piece, because he gets two rolls on the Cosmic Cube to roll for the effect. So
Hmm.
he essentially, if you do the math, he has like a I think a little bit better than a 50% chance to get whatever effect he wants.
Right.
And
Okay.
one of the effects is a placement, a free placement for four away
Oh wow.
on an adjacent friendly character. So just get this, like he can, if you're playing Molecule Man with a Kong, you can with a 50-point Kong, you can start in the back square. You see where I'm going with this? You can start. It's so troll, so troll. You start in the back of the map. You roll your thing. You just wait. You know you're gonna hit it eventually. So you get the free placement one because you pretty much have like it's a coin flip.
Hmm.
You get the free placement. You place Kong four up, five because he's a colossal base. So it's like you kind of manipulate that. It's technically five squares that you place them. So you place Kong five squares up. You double sidestep with Molecule Man because
Hmm.
he gets two sidesteps. You double sidestep with him and get adjacent to Kong again,
Hmm.
and then you just do the free action placement again, and you literally just placed a freaking Kong in their starting area essentially. It's like here you go, here's Kong in your starting area, like this is my present that I give to you, and now I get quaked off the face of the earth. But I mean that's just a little bit of a funny one, but it's not a joke really. Like it's trolly, but it's in like the more you think about some of the tech that you can pull off with Molecule Man and the Cosmic Cube, and not to mention like the other effects on the Cosmic Cube are good. Like one's prop control, one shuts off equipment within four squares of opposing characters' equipment within four squares, and that even gets around pieces like Collector. So you can't take Collector's equipment, but with the Cosmic Cube, you can shut his equipment off. And so, like, if you just roll that and try and hit that with Molecule Man, you can counter pieces like that. You can counter Hadari because if you get the equipment thing, you can just get within four of her, and she doesn't get the trigger on her universal weapon. It wouldn't work against, and she couldn't use trick arrows if she's within four of Molecule Man. But it's even worse against like a universal weapon because you didn't get that trigger at all, so you don't get universal weapon that entire turn. If you started that turn within four of Molecule Man, as long as he was on that equipment one, and then the other one, I think he gets to delete um, delete two terrain or delete a terrain, but he gets to do it twice within four squares. So you can literally use that one to just remove like phone booths or remove heart-shaped herbs off the map. Um, and he can spawn to two terrain markers of any type. So it's like a mini barrier that he gets to use. Like there, and the thing is, you can roll the d6 with the Cosmic Cube. You can get the first effect. You can use that effect. Like you could use the prop control. You could use the barrier, the little place in the barriers or destroying the barriers. You can use whatever you're going to do. Then you can roll the Cosmic Cube effect again and then do another effect that you get. So like there's so many different variations. Like it's a very finesse, like it's a very nuanced thing, Cosmic Cube on Molecule Man. I don't really think Cosmic Cube is viable as an equipment other than on Cosmic Cube just because he can do two free actions a turn of the same kind of free action.
Right.
That's why it's a yeah. And Cosmic Cube is viable on pieces that get it for free, like White Tiger Prime and stuff like that. Um, the aim keyword I think gets it for free, and then like Thanos. But the other two pieces that or other three pieces that come to mind are Chase Doom for Collector's Trove. One of my good buddies, Jacob Bishop, the North Carolina state champ, he runs that Doom Chase, the Doctor Doom Chase at
Yes. Yes.
75. He's really good.
He's very good.
He he is very good. Like I don't care what anyone says. Like you might not think he's good just by looking at his dial, but if you go up against a good player with that Doom, you better pack your lunch because he can wreck your world from all the way across the map with trick arrows or some other thing like that. Like he is dangerous. and just his map control was insane. Legacy Cap, I want to make that piece work. Like I think there's something there, and he is so easy to kill. That's his problem. He's easy to kill, and Beetlejuice hurts him a lot.
Legacy Cap.
The
Oh,
one holding Mjolnir.
the one holding Mjolnir, the new one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's something there. I've played a couple games with him. Um, I've played a couple games with him and done pretty good. I just think it's going to take some tinkering. He's an Alpha Strike piece for sure, but you can also play him defensive shell because of that +1 defense thing he does with Avengers. I think it's like so if there's like say there, I think for every Avenger he's adjacent to, all of those characters get +1 defense. So if it's him and two other Avengers, I think it maxes out all their defense, or maybe it's he's adjacent to three other Avengers, all of their defenses get +3, which
Yeah.
is insane. Um, so I really love that cap. That's such a cool like design figure. If Juice wasn't a thing, he would be like he would be he would be top tier. Like he'd be S tier. And I think he might be like low S tier. He's definitely A tier, like A tier, high A tier in my opinion. So good. And then Spot. Spot is going to make waves. Spot is extremely strong. Um, and people don't exactly know how his spots marker works. Like some people, if you watch like some BRs played and stuff, like some people were moving the spot marker all the way across the map
Yeah. No,
and
I
just
don't think that's the
that's
way it works.
it's
Yeah.
not it's not
Okay.
how it works. You have to yeah, you have to spawn it within 4 of the spot. Everyone out there, please stop playing battle royales that way. But it's even better the right way because like now you get to like even if you were all the way across the map with Spot and his marker is all the way over here, you can just free action and place it within 4 of Spot. So it's not just you moving the marker 4 squares at a time. It's not like the Yaka arrows, which is how a lot of people are playing it. It's even better than that because you can just do crazy stuff. Like just one interaction off the top of my head that I was talking to some friends about is um, like running up Spot with like the Hell Cycle or something, like hypersonicking in with Spot, leaving his Spot's marker in the back, and then hypersonicking, hitting, and then during the second portion of the hypersonic, you just move through the marker. So now you place the marker adjacent to them and you swap to the marker spot. So now you can spawn back in your starting area, and now they're adjacent to your spots marker. So now you can flurry. So it's pretty much an alpha strike
So
that you get off.
how does it work? So
So the spots marker, you can treat it as if you're moving through it with Spot, and you like so it's like a portal pretty much for Spot that he gets to move through, and also it's a it's you can attack through it as if you're adjacent. Like if a opposing character is adjacent to the spots marker, he gets to attack that character and use flurry on them as a free action. So um like you can just have the you can run Spot up and like place his spot marker. Uh you can run Spot up, place his spot marker adjacent to them, and like do free flurry, for instance, because like whoever is adjacent to his marker is is technically adjacent for the attack. But like just a crazy interaction, for instance, is you can TK Spot up and then like time breaker him. So you can get him to like square like 9 or 10, and then you can place his spot marker 4 more up for
hmm
free. So Spot hasn't done anything at this point in that turn. He places spot marker adjacent to someone. He does a free action flurry because they're adjacent to the marker, and then you just hypersonic away with Spot. Just run to the back of the map, and you can still do the hypersonic a close attack because they're still adjacent to the spot marker. So
Oh.
yeah. So then when you hypersonic back to the back, if you hit someone after resolutions, you can place them adjacent to Spot. So it's literally you can take that piece back to your kill box.
Wow,
Yeah, it's
that's
dude,
crazy.
when you look into that piece, he's so bonkers, man. Like I'm so glad he's a silver ring because he would be so broken if he was like I think he's already kind of insane. He's got a good he's got outwit, he's got a good defensive ability. Like if you miss him with an attack, you just take 2 damage, which is
Hmm.
insane. He's got super senses and he's wild card. He's wild card TA. He's got amazing keywords like ruler. I think he might be monster scientist something. I know he's ruler though, which is just like the best keyword in the game right now if you're trying to go theme. And yeah, you need to look into some of that spot tech, man. He's crazy. Yeah.
Um. Okay. So, yeah, those were really good answers. Really, there's a lot of like really good figures. I'm really excited for. I mean, I really like the Spider-Man set that just came out. It's a great set. I really am excited for the upcoming products that are coming out.
Mhm.
That like there's a Hulk set coming out. I'm excited for that.
Is that a
Um,
smash and destroy one?
yeah, it's Smash.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a Smash and Destroy. I don't know if it's yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Um, and
The
um,
Heralds of Galactus. The Heralds of
oh,
Galactus
that
is
looks really cool. Yeah, that
yeah.
that looks really cool. I'm excited for that. I already have that pre-ordered.
Yeah.
um,
Silver
but
Surfer is my guy.
I think Joe, I think we're gonna wind down a little bit. I just want to ask you like a couple of last questions here.
Yeah.
Um, would you sum up your HeroClix journey, your overall HeroClix journey, in 10 words or less? And also, if you want to give a shout
Mhm.
out to anybody or promote anything, now's your chance.
For sure, for sure. So 10 words or less to sum up. I think I would say hmm, to sum up here, clicks. I would say learn how to build first. The good gameplay will follow.
I
Learn
like
how to
that.
build. Learn how to build first. The good gameplay will follow. I think build. We were talking about it earlier. I just building. Maybe it's just like I'm a kind of a deep thinker, and that's like, and so were my friends that I learned how to play the game with when we were playing all this home game. Shout out to James and Jerry, and Luke and Ben for that matter. Back my boys back home, but when we were playing the game, we were deep thinkers, and we just that was the fun. That was the most fun part of the game for us was team building. Even for stretches where we weren't able to play for months at a time, we would be talking to each other on the phone, talking about crazy builds. And if you learn how a team meshes and just learn how to build one very good team and see it work, um, you can learn how to be good at this game. Like I don't consider myself the most mechanically like I got on the competitive scene late. I don't consider myself a good like mechanically sound player right now. I've gotten a lot better over the past year, obviously, but I've only been to 3 big events, but I just had the building aspect of the game down. You can always get better at building, but like if you get the building down where and you have to trust your gut when it comes to building. Like if you've got a concept, like take input from other people. Like I was saying, I talked to Lucas Van Hollen, Dylan Castlebaum, Jacob, all these good players, all these great players. Take their input. But if you have a concept like the Crimson Gem on Ghost Rider, like I knew in my head that that was going to work in some way, in some capacity. So if you have a concept,
Hmm.
you know, try it out for sure. Don't play something without test playing it because it could be dog crap. Like it could just be absolute garbage too. That happens too. Don't be afraid to like build something and fail with it, but practice it. If you like that concept and you don't like other things, take all those off. Keep that core like I kept with the Ghost Rider and Crimson Gem and see where it goes. But just yeah, building is I would really focus on building, not so much the little tiny micro interactions of playing the game. Because if you get a good team built and you learn how to build teams effectively for the meta, especially building like to counter the meta, you can learn the gaming, like the actual play interactions. Yeah,
That was well said. I like that. I like that very
yeah, yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah, for
And,
sure.
And any last words? Anything else?
Yeah, honestly, man, just I appreciate you letting me be on the podcast. I love talking HeroClix, obviously. Dude, I could spitball and just like talk HeroClix builds, anything like that. I could talk it all day, man. If anyone, I'm not a well-known player, obviously. I'm a little more well-known now, but like that 15 minutes of fame is like it's almost up. We're looking to next events and stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll be able to do good at future events, but don't be afraid to reach out to, first of all, me on Facebook. Dude, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to anyone about builds, about ideas. I just love, like, this game is awesome. The community is so great. Talk to anyone of like, I started messaging like Joe Alves and Lucas Van Holland, Alex Mater. A lot of these guys, like when I got on the competitive scene, like they didn't know who I was. Like I was just some random dude and I might have met them at an event or something, but they probably still didn't even know my name. But I just was like, hey man, I'm new to the competitive scene. I'm trying to get into some of this. Like, what do you think of this, this, and this? And build my confidence up and just talking with players like that. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, just anything like that. I'm always around. I'm on Facebook, Joseph Harrison. You'll see me on the trade posts and stuff like that. Hit me up if you want to talk. Um, I'm actually, if for anyone who's watching this, I don't know where I'm going with this per se, but in the next like 2 to 3 weeks, I will be starting up a channel of my own, HeroClix related. And I won't spoil it, but I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be very different than a typical. I'm gonna have some podcast elements at times to it for sure, but it's going to have some very different elements to it. I'll say that I'm going to try and make it a unique channel, and I think it'll be fun for the viewers.
Well, we're
So
definitely excited for that. Then that's really cool.
yeah, so I'll drop that on Facebook or whatever when that happens, and yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, shout out to all my players from Gilded Dragon, Dylan Castlebaum, and all of those guys, Jacob Bishop that practiced with me leading up to the event on Roll20 a lot. I definitely wouldn't have won without them. Alex Mater, Isaac Dinky for helping me make some last minute tweaks to my team. Um, my teammates Matt Donham and Kenny and Clark at the event. It was great. Like you said, I got to shout out Dave Newmark one more time and his whole team. The judges and everything. They were just so amazing over the weekend. It was an awesome thing to see. And yeah, man, it was an awesome time. And that's all I have to say for now. Last but certainly not least, man, I am a man of faith. So I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for everything I have in this life.
Absolutely, and so also I was thinking like everybody you mentioned, by the way, all those people that you mentioned, they're great people. I just want to
Oh yeah,
say the community here, the community in HeroClix is so great,
yeah,
and so it just made me think when you were saying like these people helped you out and you reached out to them and they helped you out with your
yeah,
teams and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like I used to do that too when I started. Like I used to like reach out to everybody I like people that I didn't even know and like
hmm
like that at that point I was just like a stranger to certain people, but
yeah,
like everybody in the community really wants to help out, and I
yeah,
think I think that's something really great about HeroClix is that
yeah,
everybody helps each other out. So,
for
um,
sure. Yeah, I remember. Sorry, just on one little story about Lucas Van Holland. It is true. Like at the end of the day, man, we're all just nerds who love superheroes and like love this game and want to see people like passionate about the game. I remember, and just the community aspect. I remember at the Rock Cup, that was my first big competitive environment. I was 0-2 at the start of the main event, and I ended up making top cut. But I was 0-2 and I lost to, I think her name is Alyssa McNeil, a really good player from Phoenix Nest, I think. And Lucas came up to me and asked me how my game went after the match because I just met him there, and he was kind of like keeping up with my games a little bit, just trying to help me out because I had messaged him some about building and sort of that thing. And he just like he could see how disappointed I was with how I just played and the loss. And he just like came up to me and gave me some really good encouragement, like, "Hey man, like." We've all been there. Like everyone has like struggled in a tournament. Like, and it's just like it was awesome. Like Lucas Van Hall, like arguably the best player in Clix, like coming up to me and just acting like a normal dude. And you know, you think when you first get into a competitive environment like that with a game that you love, you think these guys are like you can't talk to them like normal people. They're celebrities and that sort of thing. But man, they are just all like, I haven't met any good player in this game like all the ones we've talked about: Alex Mader, Joe Alves, PJ, like all the Lucas, all these dudes, like Dylan Castlebaum. I know him personally. He's from North Carolina. We're all just like bros at the end of the day, like trying to play the game, and
Yeah.
like it is just an awesome community. So yeah, anytime anyone wants to talk to me on Facebook, you know where to find me.
Yeah, and I'll definitely hit you up on Roll20 too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure,
I
man.
think
I'm down.
Roll20 is like one of the best tools for people to practice.
Yeah, great
Like
tool.
It's it helps so much just to be able to play.
Placement, and it's huge for placement. And yeah, just obviously it's not as fun as being in person, and you don't get to play with our little cool sculpts.
Yeah.
But for just theory crafting and playing, it's amazing.
Okay, well, Joe, thank you for joining me on the show. I appreciate it. It was a really nice talking to you. Congratulations again on your win in ChampionClix Open 300 Modern. You did an awesome job. Right? Thank you. And for everybody watching or listening, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. And check out my socials in the description of this video. And don't forget, everybody, to wake up and smell the clicks.